is the Big O Show. This 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 is the Big O Show.
No games, man. It's just surely probably Pablo. Culture. Lord Productions.
Good morning, South Florida.
This is the Big O Show.
You're tuned into the Big O Show.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Yo, you tuned in to the hottest sports radio show with Orlando, a.k.a. the Big O. He covers all the South Florida teams, from the Dolphins to the Heat. Well, you know what I mean. Monday to Friday, Friday Pablo in the Big O Show. O's on the radio, the top's where we gonna go. Miami, that's the way we roll. Locked on the morning show, Big O. No one has a similar show. Talk sports, talk plays, talk live and direct. Because nobody do it better than Big O in the set. From sunrise, just alive, it's the best of the best. He's got the fans, got the heat, he's the best of the best. Big O, the only talking sports with a style.
Break it a morning, it's Big O-N. Thank you for tuning in, keeping it glued in. Stay tuned, because right here's where the woman's in. Same place, because right here some of them begin. Simply call and just state your opinion. Real talk, sport talks, the Big O Show. Yeah, you love it, yeah, you like it, call them and let them know.
Culture, probably Pablo. You know, now introducing the man of the hour, Big O, a.k.a. Orlando Sha'Carri. Yeah.
All righty. Yeah. We are ready to rock on a beautiful Friday. It is July 4th weekend. Hope all of you are going to be safe this weekend. Please make sure you're safe and don't blow your fingers off. You know what I mean? That's, if you want to light the fireworks, make sure you let go of the firework. Okay. Just in case. All right. So, good morning. Hope everybody is doing well. We are feeling good today on a Friday, making a little bit of more progress on the show. Those of you that follow us on Twitter at Big O Show, you probably already got a whiff of the news. I always laugh with people, like somebody will reach out to me on Twitter and will say, "Hey, oh, what's going on? Where are you at? What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Well, dude, you're on Twitter. Did you like check the timeline? Like everything is there, you know?" Somebody will reach out to me on IG or something like, "What's going on?" I'm like, Do you check like social media? You know, it's all there and all that. But for those of you that don't follow on social media, we announced yesterday Ira Winderman will be locked into our show exclusively. You will not hear him anywhere else here in South Florida. He will be on with us twice a week, just like Omar Kelly. And so we've added Omar Kelly and we've added Ira Winderman to our show. So you can catch both of them exclusively here. Ira will start in August. At the beginning of August, he'll join us. As you all know, Omar, or maybe you don't know if you haven't caught the show the last couple of days, Omar will join us starting on Monday. So Mondays and Fridays, Omar will be joining us here on the show. It'll be at 11:30 in the morning. So lock it in on Mondays and Fridays if you want to hear the Omar Kelly segment. Ira, we haven't determined yet exactly which days. Sometimes it may fluctuate. It may be a different time because he's going to travel this year now with the team. So we'll have Ira. And then if there's any breaking news for the Heat or the Dolphins, they will both join us for the breaking news. If there's breaking news and it's not during our show, we will post a special podcast with myself and Ira, myself and Omar to go over the breaking news and give you a short podcast on that too. So all of these things will be available here for you on our show, and it's going to be part of it's going to be under an umbrella of a bigger project that I'm trying to work on here. But at least for now, the foundation here for our show, we're trying to set it as it is. So little by little, and we thank Craig Zinn's Acura Pembroke Pines for joining the show and continuing their sponsorship with us, which is I think it's like 11 years or something like that. They've been with us, and EJD Construction is the sponsor for the Omar Kelly Dolphins reports. And very important, man. It's smashing that like button. It's subscribing. It's visiting our sponsors. If you need some construction in your home, you want to redo, remodel, whatever, reconstruct, add an addition, EJD Construction. You're looking for a vehicle, Acura of Pembroke Pines. All of these kind of things will help us grow. You know what I mean? So maybe we're not bouncing around and doing any of this that we've been doing for a few years now and all these unstable situations that I've been a part of, unfortunately. So let's create stability here, okay? And remember, folks, you've got the Cash App. You gave me the idea. We opened up the Cash App, and you can send us your donations there instead of the super chat where YouTube takes 30%. At least with the Cash App, we get it all. And it's Cash Big O Show. Cash Big O Show. You'll see it in the scroll right under us here. Right there. You see Cash Big O Show. There it goes. Right there. There it goes. Cash Big O Show. There you go. So many ways to support the program. Thank you all out there. So looking forward to it. I'm happy that we got Omar and Ira. I'm not done yet. Okay, we're going to add way more, and the show will eventually expand to more than 2 hours daily. We are going to probably go to 3 and maybe even 4 hours daily. So we're going to as we add more content, we will expand the show, and that'll be great because we got obviously football season coming up, and we'll have plenty to talk about in a phenomenal football season. I've got other news too that I'm going to tell you about the show that I'm working on. I'll finalize it next week, and then I can break the news. And I think Dolphin fans are going to be really happy about the news that I'm going to have about all of that. So, just little by little, we're working on it. And of course, if you're a sponsor out there and you'd like to be a part of our show and sponsor our program, you got a business out there that wants to be a part of it, I would love to talk to you and bring you aboard. And that way you can share in our success and grow with us here on the Big O Show. I appreciate all of you out there as always. Rosendo says, happy Friday. Good morning, Big O and family. Hope all is well. Since you are having a lot of people on your show, please try to get Dougley Do Wrong part of your show. He's an excellent Dolphin insider. I got to talk to Dougley. Dougley. I got to get on his show actually, because I promised that I would do his show once my voice was corrected, and now that it's corrected, and now that we feel good, and we're the voice is back to, I think it's back to normal now. I think pretty much. I don't really struggle anymore with the voice. Thank the Lord. And hopefully we don't have those issues anymore. So we'll have some fun with all of that, and I will also, I'm trying to think of a spot where we can all gather too. You know what I mean? So that's something that I want to also get you, because you guys have told me about a get together for the show. I want to create something like that at one of the bars or something in South Florida. That would be really cool. That maybe we can do it at one of the bars in South Florida. I don't know if it's in Dade or Broward or Palm Beach. I don't know where we do it. I don't know what's more centralized for people, because if you do it in Broward, you're going to piss off Dade people and Palm Beach people, and then if you do it in Palm Beach, you're pissing off Dade and Broward. If you do it in Dade, then Broward and Palm Beach people are pissed, and it's like, it's crazy because we're a commuter town, yet people sometimes get pissed about commuting. I mean, we're not public transit. It is what it is. So to me, I've never cared about driving. I drive wherever I have to drive. It's kind of what we've lived with all our lives here in South Florida. Anyway, so good news, great news for the show, as Ira Winderman now will join us twice a week, giving you great Heat insight, as always, an NBA insight, and Omar Kelly covering the Dolphins on a daily basis. Will be both our insiders here on the show. More to come. We are going to do a lot more, and this show will grow immensely. We just gotta, listen. It's little by little. We're working on it. When it's all said and done, we'll hopefully you guys will be, and ladies out there will be happy with the finished product. A little roll call. Let's see who checked in. Jonathan Dill checked in. Well, he checked in at 9 a.m. Steve Chapman, he was second. He checked in at 10:53. And Omar Lopez and John Rouse is in the house. GP Trap is in, and he says, smash that like button. And I'm with him there. Isais, Ray, let's have that Elsa hurricane curve away from us. Yes, amen. Yeah, we don't need a storm right now. I feel bad for even the people in Cuba. I hope it doesn't hit anything. It would be nice and just dissipates somewhere in the ocean. It would be perfect, actually. Ian from Brooklyn, Omar Lopez, Matt Walker, Gus 1388, Troy Ortiz, Lisa Rose is in. She says 72 days until the first game. That's pretty cool. I didn't realize that. What else do we have here? Call of Duty says if you need a Magic the Gathering correspondent, I'm here for you. Okay. Okay. All right. I appreciate you. Rosendo says, let's all get vaccinated so we can all go back to normal, and hit the like button. Hey, listen, the only reason we're getting back to normal is because those of us that vaccinated, and those of you that refuse to get vaccinated, or you're coming up with these weak ass excuses like, oh, they got magnets and they're tracking us and they, all that stuff. You're welcome. Okay. Because, look at most of the people getting sick and dying right now in the United States. They're the ones that aren't vaccinated. People that are vaccinated are not dying. But whatever. I mean, people can create whatever they want and make up all kinds of crap, but it is what it is. But those of us that are vaccinated, okay, you can thank us. We're the ones that are helping bringing everything back to normal. We're the ones making the effort. Big O, glad to see you with Cash App. Well, thank you, man, of 1,005 holds. Appreciate you. Fred Soros, R. Castel 6. Also, he's in from Cali, he says, out in the West Coast out there. Nice. I like it. I can't wait to visit California. I haven't been there in a couple years. So I love going out to California and hanging out and going to concerts and having a good time there in California. It's a good place. I'd rather, if I had to live in California, I'd rather live in Northern California. Southern California, I love visiting. I don't know if I want to live there because of that traffic is brutal, dude. I mean, absolutely a terror, man. It really is. Anyway, lots of things to talk about today on the show. Drop my pen. The one thing that we got to talk about is the NBA playoffs last night, and it's one of those where I think it's my fault, folks. You know, I was saying that I was enjoying the playoffs. All of a sudden, these guys get injured. I mean, there were prior injuries to all of this with AD and all that stuff, but it's one of those where, I mean, last night it was unwatchable. It was just unwatchable, man. Atlanta without Trey Young, and you know how it is. I'm not breaking any news or enlightening most of you out there. You know how it is. The team that's home, their role players are going to play better. Everybody's going to play with more confidence. So Atlanta took care of business. Even when Trey Young went out in the last game, they were home. They were in the ATL. Last night, they were in Milwaukee. Everybody got comfortable. Brook Lopez went out there, kicked some ass. Chris Middleton was terrific. Bobby Portis. I saw Ira tweeting out, is that an option for the Miami Heat? 22 points, 8 rebounds, 3 steals. Drew Holiday, all that stuff. So they really exploded last night and were confident, and it was never a game. And that was my problem with it. I lost interest in that game so quickly because it just wasn't fun. It's not fun to watch. I don't want to see Trey Young on the sidelines. I don't see Giannis on the sidelines. That sucks, dude. All the sexiness and the Suns are they're resting now. They're getting healthy, and they're going to wait whichever one of these limping teams are going to end up getting to the NBA Finals, and it's going to take away from watching it. I'm not one of those guys. I'm not doing that to the Suns. Okay, they lasted the season. They stayed healthy. They either were the tougher ones mentally and physically, or they got the breaks, whatever it is. But hey, listen, plenty of teams have had help or breaks, that is, in heading to a finals and winning it. All right, so nobody's above reproach when it comes to that stuff. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that to teams in the past. I'm not going to do that right now to the Suns when it's all said and done. They get what they deserve. They're in the NBA Finals. They deserve to be in the finals. Anthony Davis can't stay healthy. That's his problem, dude. That's been his problem from day one since he got into the league. That's the one thing that scares me about, either trading or signing for that guy if it's my favorite team, because he's unreliable. You know what I mean? And last year they were able to keep him in one piece to end up winning the title. Plus they took advantage of the Miami Heat getting their injuries too, on top of all of that. But this year he couldn't stay healthy. This is a guy that picks up all kinds of nicks and knacks all throughout the game, bro. It's like he's like a walking time bomb. Every time you see him, he tweaks something. He's limping here. He's doing that. And you're like, okay, eventually he's just going to go out of the game because this is what he does. So I'm not here to take anything away from the Suns. But I will say this. As a basketball fan, it's not going to be fun watching the Suns trash these teams. The only one that's going to really enjoy it is Lisa, because she's a Suns fan. But the rest of us, we're not really going to enjoy it as basketball fans because it's not going to be a series. Phoenix is going to torch these two teams. And right now, Milwaukee or Atlanta would be lucky to win one game against the Suns in the NBA Finals. One. They'll be lucky to win one game in the NBA Finals. I can see the Suns smoking any of these teams in 5 games. But, and that's the thing. Yesterday, it just it soured on that game quickly, man. It was just bad. So Bucks lead 3-2. Tomorrow night, we'll see if the Bucks eliminate the Hawks, or do the Hawks keep themselves alive in the ATL. We also don't know if Trey will play on tomorrow in this game, or Giannis. I don't think Giannis is going to play. I don't think you come back that quickly from a hyperextended knee. But Trey Young would be the one, and apparently he was warming up yesterday, and they were showing his face grimacing as he was trying to do a layup. Bone bruises are a bitch, dude. Okay? A bone bruise is not a joke. That is a bothersome injury. That is one that is just needling at you the entire time. And if it's one of those, you put it on a bone, on a bone where you're putting weight on it on a consistent basis, like the foot. Oh, that's got to be brutal for Trey Young. You can tell, and that's the other thing that you look at Trey Young, and he's such a skinny, small kid. Those are things that you worry about him now, down the line, that body, will it wear out? Because you got to have a certain amount of toughness. And he's lucky that he's not in the Iverson era where Iverson had to go through the trees when he went into the paint, and there's all those giants at that time with Shaq and Olajuwon and all those other guys that were playing during Iverson's time. And it was a different league. It was much more physical, all of those things. Iverson was a tough bitch. You know what I mean? And he wasn't a big guy either. That's why I think that's one of the reasons why we all know deep down inside that Iverson maybe wasn't the best leader in the world. You know what I mean? We all kind of know that he was irresponsible at times. He was a little crazy off the court too, had his issues. Was a volume shooter, wasn't really an efficient shooter, but he had a lot of positive traits to his game too, because his energy, his scoring ability, he can break people down, he can set things up. He was a great player. I mean, let's not kid ourselves here. But I think the one of the features or characteristics that we probably admire the most was his toughness. Because he had to be tough in that league that he played in, because the league he played in was 10 times more physical than what we're getting now. You know what I mean? And so you wonder about Trey Young. Is this a sign of things to come for him? You know what I mean? Because you just stepped on a referee and you got a bone bruise. You know what I mean? And that's kind of freakish in a way. But again, it just, you kind of need some durability in this moment. And unfortunately, he just doesn't have it. And I just hope it's not a sign of things to come that his body breaks down on a consistent basis. Lisa Rose says, from your mouth to God's ears, Big O. Yeah, like we all will be disappointed if the Suns win 4-0 or 5-1, because we're like, damn, series sucked, dude. Because we're basketball fans. We're not Suns fans. We're not Hawks fans or Bucks fans. So we don't really have a horse in the race, even though I got to say I am rooting for the Suns. With James Jones leading the way, I'm an enormous James Jones fan. He's just one of the great human beings you'll ever meet in this business. And, I know James. And so it's just one of those things that it's impossible not to root for James Jones, unless he was playing the Heat. That's the only way I wouldn't root for James Jones. And I will say the Suns are a likable team too. Okay. Maybe outside of Chris Paul, but I mean, everybody else, it's a likable team. So I'm rooting for the Suns regardless, but I would like to see Atlanta or Milwaukee healthy in this series and give them a series. I'd like to see the Suns win it in 6 or 7, because selfishly, I'd like to see a series myself. But I'm just afraid that now what we're watching, I can't see any of these teams really scaring the hell out of the Phoenix Suns. I really can't. So tough one there, dealing with the playoffs. Appreciate all of you out there. Remember, you can reach out to us on YouTube. You got the chat board there on the Twitter page at Big O Show, of course. Remember, we've got an email, Big O Radio Show at yahoo.com. That's Big O Radio Show at yahoo.com. That's another way to reach out to us on the program. And another way to support us is on the Cash App, Cash Big O Show. That's the other way to support us, Cash Big O Show, to support us here on the program. We've got a couple things that I want to address today on the show. First of all, let's talk a little bit about the Heat and Kawhi Leonard, because this is a story that's already starting to gain some traction Not that I feel it's a legitimate story or anything like that, but again, it's kind of part of the whole thing with the Heat and Kawhi Leonard and where's he going and where's he going to end up. And so there's a report out there that the Mavericks want to steal Kawhi Leonard away from the Clippers, that they could be the team. And so it says Clippers pulled out all the stops 2 years ago to land Kawhi Leonard in free agency. Leonard signed a 3-year, $103 million deal with the Clippers in 2019. The deal includes a $36 million player option for next season that Leonard can choose to pick up or decline. Now, if Leonard decides to decline his option and becomes a free agent, he will have a few teams in pursuit. Kevin O'Connor from The Ringer published a story yesterday saying that he says the Mavericks and the Heat plan to make a hard push if Kawhi Leonard becomes a free agent. He says NBA executives expect the Mavs to be the biggest contender for Leonard. Dallas seemingly selling points include teaming up with Luka, the franchise's ability to create cap space, and Leonard's supposed positive relationship with the team's new front office executive. Now, again, I'm going to state what I've stated before. Leonard had the issue in San Antonio and had to sit out and everything and then forced to trade. He was traded to Toronto, went to another country, ended up winning a title. And then when everybody thought they had a shot at him, in the end, he went to the team that a lot of people didn't pick in the Clippers. And why? Because it's closer to his San Diego home, and he didn't want to really join LeBron and AD. So he went to the Clippers and to stay by home. I think at this point, Leonard has titles already in San Antonio and Toronto. He doesn't have anything else to prove. The only thing left for Leonard to prove is that maybe can he play a couple seasons healthy? You know what I mean? Because he's a sack of injuries. I mean, did he do any good for the Clippers right now? You paid him all that money and he wasn't there for you in the end. Didn't work out, did it? Last year when you needed leadership, it didn't work out. Listen, I'm not saying that he's a bad player or a guy you don't want on your team. Right? He's fantastic, but he's also unreliable. So here's the thing. First of all, I saw Ira say that, you know, he probably won't even be able to match the numbers he needs anyway, as it is. So that would be one of the problems. But in the end, I don't think there's any chance that he leaves the Clippers right now. I think there's a better chance they trade Paul George somewhere else. I don't know if they will, but I'm telling you, I think there's a better chance that Kawhi Leonard tells the front office, hey, let's get somebody else to be a Robin, not this guy. That I can see. But what I don't see is after all this crap to get back home, he's now going to go 3,000 miles away to Miami. Or he's going to go whatever it is to Dallas, 1,500 miles, whatever it is from Los Angeles to Dallas. I just don't see that, and I'm sorry. It doesn't make any sense to me, and this is, you know, an offseason or a 24-hour news cycle, and you've got to fill it with a bunch of crap. And we've talked about this already, you know, several times. Well, not several times. We've brought it up a couple of times already about Kawhi, and I just don't think there's any shot that the Miami Heat end up with Kawhi Leonard. And I know that the Heat zombies are going to start to, you know, oh, we're going to go get Kawhi Leonard and all that. And the sad part is for the Heat that if you do try and fail again, you start to think about it over the last few years, you're failing a hell of a lot more than succeeding every time you go out to get a whale. I mean, it just never ends up happening. From Aldridge to Durant to what was the name of the kid that went to the Celtics and got injured from Utah? Gordon Hayward. I mean, it just, you know, Kawhi, whatever, all these things, you don't end up getting the guy more often than not. And the Butler one, in a way, I almost feel like it was the perfect storm because Jimmy wanted his own team. There was nobody really ready to hand him his own team. He could have joined somebody else maybe that already was their team, but Miami needed somebody like that. And so it was a perfect place for him. And he's happy because it's his team, but it's not a championship team. And I know last year, the fluke of last year kind of led the Heat Zombies in a direction that they really have no business going in, because they weren't that good last year. It's just they got on a run last year. They had a shot and everything, but that really wasn't what you were going to see year in and year out, a team that was a title contender. No. They were a title contender at that moment because they had everything going on. It was just the perfect storm for them. But Kawhi Leonard, to me, I don't think he's going to be chasing titles. I don't think he's going to be chasing, cultures and chasing teams and all of that. He wants what's best for him. And while it didn't work out on the court this year and the injuries and all of that, I'm convinced that this guy is happy where he's at because he's home. He's close to family and all of that. I think he's going to stay there. I don't think there's any shot he leaves the Clippers. And I think people are going to be writing about this. Talk show hosts are going to be talking about this. Fans are going to be, social media and texting and tweeting and all that stuff about this. And they're going to end up wasting their time like the Heat Zombies have for most of the whales that they've gone after over the last few years. Since the big three, they have swung and missed on almost all the whales that they've gone after. And if it wasn't for this whale desperately wanting his own team, they don't land Jimmy Butler either. Because that's what Jimmy wanted. And there weren't gonna be a lot of teams at that moment ready to hand their franchise to Jimmy and say, you be the face of our franchise. No. The Heat took the chance, and it's worked out for a couple years here. And now we get to the dangerous part. Okay? Because I will cringe, and I will tell you I will disagree with them if they extend Jimmy Butler. I think it would be irresponsible to extend Jimmy Butler. I really do. Let's see. What else do we go? I agree. It's petty, but the rule is the peace, and it has a consequence. The athletes know the rules, and the emphasis should be on changing the rules so it's no penalty. Until it happens, though, it's the rule. This is Thomas Roach, and I don't think he's responding to anything that we said on the show right now on Twitter. I think he's responding, and I don't know how many of you saw this story. I want to make sure I pronounce her name the right way. Sha'Carri Richardson. I don't know if you guys saw the story, but Sha'Carri Richardson has been suspended pretty much from the Olympics. She's been barred at this moment because she tested positive for marijuana. And so Ricky Williams tweeted out, like, are we still suspending athletes for this in 2021, which is ridiculous. And I got to tell you something. I agree with Ricky Williams on this, that you can't be suspending athletes anymore at this point for marijuana. Marijuana is about to become legal almost everywhere. Marijuana has never been the problem in this country or in the world. Prescription drugs are way more really of an issue in our society than marijuana ever will be. Alcohol is 100 times worse than marijuana. Marijuana does not give a track star any kind of an advantage. And if you listen to her, whether you think she's telling the truth or not, she just lost her father. So she was depressed and smoked a joint, man. I mean, seriously, come on. We're suspending people for marijuana use? It just makes no sense at this point. I get it if somebody's driving and they're swerving because they're stoned out of their minds and you want to arrest somebody that's inebriated behind the wheel, that's different. Okay. But she's not doing any of that. She's on her own time enjoying a joint, which is no big deal. Meanwhile, there's the dude that's having 10 whiskeys Oh, because it's legal. But he did more damage with just a couple of whiskeys than she did with a joint. It's we're so ass backwards in this world, the way we think about certain things and the way we've treated marijuana when we look the other way for alcohol. And this weekend, do you know how many people are going to die from alcohol-related deaths? None of them are going to be from marijuana-related deaths, but we're going to have hundreds and thousands of people probably die because there was alcohol-related deaths this weekend in July 4th. All weekend long, we're going to have crashes that are going to end up in the worst-case scenario all throughout this country. And we look the other way with alcohol. We don't do enough. We let people with DUIs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and we react until they kill somebody. Prescription drugs are an enormous problem in this country. Enormous. And yet we do nothing about it. And meanwhile, we're suspending people for marijuana? Are you kidding me, dude? We're in the process of making it legal all over the place, recreational. So how do we start suspending people for it? And I got to and by the way, Sha'Carri Richardson, she is an absolute mensch, okay? She is a stud. She is stand up as they get. Listen to what she said. Here it is. Did I get it right? No, where is it? Right here. Let's see. Here we go. Okay, she confirmed that she ingested marijuana just days before the Olympic trial after learning the death of her biological mother. I'm sorry, I said father. She said she learned of her mother's death from a reporter, a complete stranger. She said the experience was definitely triggering and nerve-shocking, and that it sent her into a state of emotional panic. She did not specifically say why she used the marijuana, but spoke about dealing with my mental health and having to put a face with camera on her in the biggest moment of her track career. I know that I can't hide myself, so at least in some type of way, I would just try to hide my pain, she said. On Thursday of learning the positive test, she tweeted, I am human. On Friday, Richardson apologized to the fans and sponsors and took responsibility for her actions. I know what I did. I know what I'm supposed to do, what I'm allowed not to do, she said. I still made that decision. Okay, so she was aware that she couldn't smoke and that WADA was going to hold it against her, but obviously she was in a state, where she felt like she needed something to kind of calm her down, relax her, whatever it is. And I get it. We should rather her drink a half a bottle of vodka, right? Yeah, no, that's all right. That's good. No, let her drown her sorrows with half a bottle of vodka or whiskey or bourbon, right? Yeah, no, let's encourage people to do something worse. That's what I love. Like, it's like in the NFL. They're in pain. They're hurting all over the place. Oh, here's all these drugs, Toradol and everything else that will tear up your liver and ruin it all, but you can't smoke a joint. Don't smoke a joint for pain. No, don't do that. That's the worst thing in the world. I just, to me, none of this makes any sense. And I've said this for over a decade already. Not now in the last couple of years, because we're on a craze of actually finally coming to our senses. Okay, not just smoking it, but coming to our senses. And they're actually legalizing something that is not nearly as harmful as 1,000 other things that are actually legal. Give me a break, dude. Fast food is worse for you than a damn joint. I mean, come on, man. And this poor woman is working her entire, life for this moment. And again, I give Sha'Carri, I'm a huge fan of hers. I can't say I keep up with track or anything like that. And I know she had a little flojo in her, And for those of you that have no idea what the hell I'm talking about, there was a young lady by the name of Florence Griffith Joyner, and she was a beautiful woman and had these long ass nails, just like Sha'Carri does. And she was, she was flamboyant, but she was one of the great track stars of all time. We lost her at a very early age. I want to say she was in her 30s or something like that, maybe early 40s or something. It was just ridiculous the age we lost her. And incredibly gifted. And she, had a lot of pizzazz to her game, kind of like Michael Johnson for the men with the gold shoes and all that kind of stuff. But she was one that could live up to that hype. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of us in the older category, because obviously younger people, they're not going to know who the hell I'm talking about. If you're young, go look up Florence Griffith Joyner. She was just absolutely, Flojo was amazing. Okay. And she kind of, I know she reminded a lot of us when we saw her, we go, oh, well, there's a little Flojo in her. You know what I mean? And that's why I think it caught our attention also, not just her talent and ability, but her look probably reminded us a little bit of Flojo. And I felt bad for her, man. I really did. And I got to say, I agree 100% with Ricky Williams. It's an absolute joke that we're suspending people for weed. But meanwhile, go ahead and knock yourself out and drink an entire, bottle of wild turkey. We're good with that. No problem. Just, sleep it off. That's all you got to do. Jose Banos gives us a little love on the super chat. Thank you, Jose. Appreciate it. He says, what's up, Big O? I hope all is well, brother. Many blessings to you and your family. Thank you, Jose. Very kind of you, my man. I appreciate it immensely, man. Thank you, sir. Let's see. What else do we have here? Riley said, we've got a great core with Jimmy and Bam. Everything depends on the core of the team. So for the Heat to move forward, we need the rest of the team to progress. Yeah, that's all well and good, but I don't know how much, man. Let's see what else. Alapata says $5 nickel bag cost her millions. I don't know if it's millions, but it cost her an opportunity, that's for sure. Oh, do you have the blind ass fan alert in your new studio? Yeah, of course I do. Yeah. Let me see if I have it right here. Do I? I have it in this one. Yeah, but I have it. Why? Why are you asking for the blind ass fan alert? That's what I need to know. What is behind the agenda there to know to know about the blind ass fan alert? That's what I got to know. I can look for it here. Let me see if I have it, because I know I have it in my other computer, but I can't play that one on this computer. So I have it over here, I think, somewhere around here. I'm trying to find it now. But yes, I have it. Just tell me why you need it, and I will try to pull it up if I can. I'm getting a little disappointed here. I think I am not going to have it here, man. Damn, I may have to add it to this computer here on this side. So no. At the moment, I don't see it here. I have to pass it over, but I do have it. I do have it here in my other computer. So you tell me, we can whip out the blind ass fan alert. Fred Soares says, Big O, what's up? Let's see what else. John Rouse says, it's the rule until the rule is void. I get that, and she said that. She said it herself. I just find it stupid. I really do. Bradley Beal or bust. Alapata, brother, it's bust. Bradley Beal's in a better situation right now. His Washington team is probably better than Miami's team right now, and he ain't coming here either. That's enough. That's the Heat zombie in you right now. The Heat zombies are thinking Kawhi, Bradley Beal, and what was the other unrealistic one? There's one more player out there that people are talking about, and Miami has zero chance at him. And I got to think of it who it is, but those two right there, zero shot at any of those guys. Marijuana should be done inside your house. It stinks up the joint in public places. If most places don't allow you to smoke in free air, so should marijuana. I don't know where that comes from, Rosendo. I don't think the conversation is not about where you smoke. She was probably at home anyways. You know what I mean? So that doesn't matter. I mean, listen, I don't think you want anybody smoking in public in a room with other people. You don't want cigarettes, cigars, or marijuana. You want to be somewhere where everybody else is smoking. So if you go to a bar that everybody can smoke, then everybody knows what they walked into. You know what I mean? That's just common courtesy and decency is what it's all about. I have no problem with that, but I don't think that's the issue. She gets suspended for weed and not hurting anybody, but John Jones gets no jail time for crashing into a pregnant woman because he drove drunk. That's my point. That's my point. And alcohol, way worse than anything marijuana can bring to the table. Michael Young says FloJo rocked. Yeah, she did, man. She did. Athletes being suspended for weed in the year 2021 is the most ridiculous thing. People and companies need to get with the times. I'm with you. The high times. All is not over. She can still get in by going to some counseling 4 weeks of the start of the positive test. She can still get in by time frame. I hope so, but what counseling does she need? That's, she smoked a joint, bro. Let's get over this. It's not heroin. It's not crack. All right, Sharice, let's talk about the pipe. We don't want you to smoke the stuff that Nico, what is it? What's the guy from New Jack City? Nico Brown, right? We don't want you to go to the Carter. No. That's not what she did. She didn't. You know what? I'd send her to counseling if she had a bottle of liquor. They wouldn't. If she drank a whole bottle of whatever to drown out, then I would actually have her in counseling because I would be concerned. But I'm not concerned because she smoked a joint. Now, to me, John, it's as insulting to suspend someone and also send them to counseling for weed. So we're going to send somebody to counseling for something that is becoming legal all over the place. That doesn't make any sense. I'm not doing that. I disagree with you 100% on that one. She doesn't need counseling. She needs common sense so she can smoke the sense. That's what she needs. That's what she should have. Let's see what else we have here. Alcohol led my uncle to kill him, and that was 8 years ago. I've firsthand seen drinking, rubbing alcohol because the shakes were horrible. Yeah, alcohol is crazy. Omar Kelly Day? No, that's next week, dude. Next week starts Omar Kelly. Lazy Lightsaber says, Big O, with the Finns winning 10 games last year, are we a shoo-in as an AFC championship contender? I wouldn't put us as a shoo-in, but I'll put us as a shoo-in for the playoffs. How about that? Okay? Alapata Santana. He sends in a super chat. Thank you, Alapata Santana. He says, give it up for sexual chocolate. I like it. I like it. And remember, you don't always have to use the super chat. You can use Cash App, okay? Super chat, YouTube takes 30%. Cash App, the show gets everything. So Cash App, it's Cash Big O Show. You'll see it on the scroll down below us there. Cash Big O Show. If you want, because it's a little better for the show. But thank you out there for sending in the super chats. Isais says, that's it. That's it. Damian Lillard. Miami has no shot at Damian Lillard, no shot at Kawhi Leonard, and no shot at Bradley Beal. Those are the three that I was thinking of, and I missed out on the Lillard one. But again, the Heat zombies, it's funny how the Heat zombies don't look at the track record over the last several years, that they miss out on all of them. They haven't landed the big fish. They only landed it one time. So they've struck out way more than they've actually gotten hits on. And the big three stuff was, helped by Dwayne Wade. All right. Dwayne Wade was the guy recruiting, Bosh and LeBron. Let's see. It's insane. Do you think weed is a PED? Stupid rule. Exactly, Don. I'm with Don Parlamento on that one. There's no advantages to it. And there's no disadvantage to it either. Steve Chapman says, because with football season coming in, I'm sure many of us will get carried away with some early success. She did an edible from what yeah, she did an edible. Yes, again, it's not a big deal, man. Bro, I like your show, even if I don't agree. Willie, well, thank you. And it's Nino Brown. Thank you, Nino Brown. That's it. Nino Brown, the Cash Money Brothers. Let's see. What else? Dame time is a pipe dream, my fellow Heat fans. Yes, Isais, you are correct. Francisco says, Big O, what advice would you give someone who is looking to get into sports journalism? I have a degree in journalism and communications, but haven't been able to get a chance. I would tell you, don't get into radio because it's dying. Newspapers are pretty much dead. They're not really growing at all. Newspapers are going by the wayside. So newspapers have been done even before radio. I would tell you to go to TV, dude. I would tell you to try to find an online work for a podcast, something along those lines. Don't go to radio because the corporations that are left that are running radio stations, they are just terrible. They don't care about human beings. So I would suggest you stay away from radio and from newspapers. Those are the two dying sides of media. TV and digital is where you want to go. A website, a big website, a big podcast, a TV station, something along those lines. That's what I would tell you to, go in that direction. Because right now there are just certain parts of our business that are just absolute dog shit. So that would be my suggestion, man. Stay away from radio and newspaper. Well, really, seriously, just stay away from all of that, Francisco. Hopefully you'll get a chance, my man. Good luck to you because it is a very tough business. Let's see. Prayers to Coach Mark Richt. Mark Richt, for those of you that don't know, he was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, made the announcement yesterday. Mark Richt is one of the great human beings out there. He's just an incredible person. Whatever you thought about his coaching, with that, he didn't do enough at the University of Miami or whatever. I don't care about that. At this moment, that's not what it matters. What matters is the man's health. The good thing is he's still able to work in the ACC network. I just hope, listen, every time I see any kind of these diseases take hold of anybody, it's just depressing. It really is. And I pray for the day that we can find the cures for cancer and for Parkinson's and for Alzheimer's and these kind of things, that you just don't want to ever see anybody deteriorate that way and go out that way. You know what I'm saying? So it's tough and it's disappointing to hear. It's sad, but I'm sure we're all praying for Mark Richt and hoping for the best. But yeah, it's sad news. I saw that yesterday. Willie says, I disagree with you about Albert Wilson. He's looking quite sharp in camp. It's mini camp, dude. There's nothing there. And by the way, he has no shot at making this team unless there's a bunch of injuries. He will not be on this team unless there's injuries. If there's injuries to the top guys, because all you have to do, Willie, all you have to do is do the math. Look, I'll do the math for you. I'll show you exactly why a guy like Albert Wilson and Alan Hearns are nothing more than training camp fodder, okay? Let's go over the Miami depth chart, and I'll show you how they have no shot at making this roster. So let's just say you're going to keep 6, all right? Let's just say you'll keep 6 when it's all said and done. Devontae Parker, Will Fuller, Preston Williams, Lynn Bowden Jr., Jakeem Grant, Jalen Waddle. That's 6. If you're going to keep a 7th, it'll be Malcolm Perry. It's not going to be Albert Wilson because he's not better than Jakeem Grant. He doesn't help you out on special teams. It's not going to be Allen Hurns because he doesn't help you out on special teams, whereas Jakeem Grant can play the fourth or fifth wide receiver and be the best returner in the NFL or top 3 in the NFL. Malcolm Perry can play multiple positions on the field. And who's the other kid? And Lynn Bowden Jr. can come out of the backfield, can line up in the slot, can line up outside. They're multiple. So those last couple of guys, the numbers 5, 6, and 7, or 4, 5, and 6, are going to be guys that have multiple abilities, not just a receiver. Albert Wilson and Allen Hurns are just receivers. They're not gunners. They're not returners. They're not going to help you at all in other ways. So because they're one-dimensional, they will need Preston Williams to get injured. They will need Lynn Bowden Jr. to get injured. They will need Devontae Parker to get injured. Those guys have zero chance of making this team. Okay? Zero chance. We can agree to disagree, and maybe you'll be right when it's all said and done, and we'll talk about it. Omar Lopez hits it up on the Cash App. Thank you, Omar Lopez. Appreciate you. First Cash App of the day today. Thank you, sir. Very kind. Easy way to send it to us at Cash App. It's Cash Big O Show. You'll see it on the scroll there under us. Cash Big O Show is how you send it. All one word. Cash Big O Show. Send it in there. So there you go. You could tell me I'm crazy, Willie. You could say I'm a moron. I still love you. You can say I'm out of my mind, but I just don't. It's not that I got anything against Albert Wilson or Allen Hurns. Shit, Hurns is a cane. But it's just I don't see any room for them, and I don't see them helping you in other ways. If they're going to make the back end of the roster on receivers, then you need guys that are multiple and can help you out in other ways. These guys can't. So I think they got no shot. Let's see what else. Matt Collins is a special teams gunner. Exactly. And he may not even make the team because at a receiver, he's not better than most of the guys I talked about. I know he made that catch. What was it, against the Raiders when Fitzpatrick's helmet was getting, ripped out of his head? Jakeem Grant can be replaced by Javon Holland, Lynn Bowden, and Jalen Waddle. No, he can't. None of them are proven as returners like he is. And I'm not putting Jalen Waddle to be returning when he's pretty much a full-time player at wide receiver. And Javon Holland is a full-time safety. And you're also going to make him also a returner full-time? No, I'm not doing that. Jakeem Grant is one of the 5 best returners in the NFL. No, I'm sorry. He's one of 3 best returners in the NFL. You think you just replaced that? I mean, we've had this conversation several times, I guess, with different people. And a lot of you, you got to get this shit out of your mind about Jakeem Grant, the wide receiver. He's not supposed to be a wide receiver. He's supposed to be the 4th or 5th wide receiver on your team. He's supposed to be a decoy more often than not. Maybe you throw 1 ball to him or 2 in a game. That's it. But the problem is the last couple of years, they've been so injury-riddled, he's become one of your main receivers, and that's not what you need because it's the flip side of Waddle. I told you, I don't want Waddle, who's going to be practically a full-time receiver at slot and also returning. I don't want to burn him out. Well, Jakeem Grant, the flip side. I just want you returning. I want you doing very little wide receiver work because you don't excel as a wide receiver. You excel as a returner. So I want you doing what a returner does. And when it comes to field position, he's the guy that's going to make all the difference in the world. You want to hand the job over to 3 guys that are completely unproven in the NFL. Completely unproven in the NFL. Maybe they can do it, and maybe they can't. But what I know right now is they're nowhere near Jakeem Grant. Jakeem Grant is one of the 3 best returners in the NFL. The last, 3 years he's been in the league? Last 3 years. I think he has scored more touchdowns in returns than anybody in Dolphin history, right? Already at this point. Kind of tells you all you need to know. I love how people discount Jakeem Grant like it's, oh yeah, no, you can get a returner that can change the game at any time. Yeah, no, They happen. I mean, the Dolphins have had one even before Jakeem Grant and before the next guy. And then for the last 20 years, they've never lacked a returner. They've always had one of the top 3 returners in the NFL. Having too many wide receivers is a great problem. We only had one good one not that long ago. You putting Grant on a pedestal? He's nothing special. Well, Mike, name 5 returners better than him in the NFL. You can't. So that's called mic drop on you. Bam. Bam. Okay? Bam. You can't. So what pedestal? He is on a pedestal. He's one of the best. Period. And if you don't want to admit that, then I'm sorry, you're not watching the same thing I am. The guy's already number 1 in Dolphin history. He's only been in the team 3 years. And he's number 1 in Dolphin history. Oh, Lordy. I love it. All right, let's take a quick break. Hour number 2 is next.
This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
All right, we are back here for hour number 2 of the program. And Mike, are you a comedian? Because I can set you up maybe at the comedy club or any of those kind of places that might still be open. The Improv, they've got a couple in town. I don't know if they survived all the pandemic, but the Improv is a great place because it's. I love how Mike goes. He goes, we'll see who ends up being right in September. So your question would be answered in a couple, 3 games in September? Really? How do you answer that when you need a long time to answer that? You need a couple seasons for somebody to prove it. And when you actually use somebody, he goes, Jalen Waddle would be better. Jalen Waddle's done nothing in the NFL. Zero. So that's the lazy person. Mike, I love you because I know you listen all the time. You're always on the chat board. Love you, my brother. But that's since you can't win the argument, you actually come out with a lazy take and you throw out a guy that's completely unproven. You couldn't actually go into the NFL and find 3 to 4 or 5 guys better than him because they don't exist. It's about proven, my brother. This isn't, you can't win an argument or a discussion by saying something that's never happened before. that you have nothing to stand on. Jalen Waddle hasn't done anything as a wide receiver or as a returner in the NFL. Zero. So until he actually does something, he's not even in the conversation at this point in time. You know, Jakeem Grant is proven. He's already one of the best returners in the NFL. And if Miami ever cuts him, he'll be scooped up in 2 seconds because that's a guy that changes the field for you. Those guys don't, the way the rules have changed nowadays, that doesn't happen as much. The wedge, all that stuff that's gone on and everything that they've changed with the return game, it's so much harder now. And yet he still finds a way to do stuff. Well, whatever, man. It is what it is. You know. And he goes, I'll be proven right when Grant won't be on the roster in September. No, you won't. You won't be proven right. Even if he's not on the roster and he's somewhere else, he'll be outperforming everybody in the NFL. There'll be maybe 1 or 2 guys that can compete with him because that's what it's been in the NFL. I get it, my brother. You're the guy that can't admit you're wrong. So you come up with some kind of an answer that makes no sense whatsoever, and then you kind of feel shit in your head like you actually, yeah, I'm right. You know. I get it. Making up shit doesn't really make any sense whatsoever. You gotta give me proven players, not some rookie, some wet behind the ears rookie that's done jack shit in the NFL. To compare any rookie to a proven NFL player makes no sense whatsoever. Oh, the issue with Grant is most of the Fins fans can't stand him and want him off the team ASAP. I don't care about that. That's not my problem. If you're stupid and ignorant and you think that way, that's not my fucking problem. It just isn't. It's not my problem at all. That's whoever's stupidity that is. Because if you can't understand the guy's one of the best returners in the NFL and that doesn't grow on trees, you keep him, dude. Just like many returners in the history of time that they kept them on the team just because they can return. Because it's a special gift that you have. And that kid's got a special gift as a returner. I will back you 100% that he's not a good receiver. He's not consistent enough. But I'll tell you, I don't want him much as a receiver. I want him more as a decoy. The bigger problem has been all the injuries Miami has had at receiver the last 2 years. It's forced him to play a position he shouldn't be playing. He's a returner and a very, minimal wide receiver. I wouldn't use him much. That's the problem. But if anybody thinks, oh, I'm dying to get him off the team, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. You don't get it. You just don't get rid of returners. You just don't do that. And it's not like Miami always has one that's incredible like this. This guy's the best in the history of the franchise already with the worst rules in returns. Can you imagine if Jakeem was a returner 20, 30 years ago? He would have double the touchdowns he has now. He would be even better than he is now because the rules would have helped him out a lot more. The rules make it a lot harder now to return, and yet he still is doing a hell of a job. I don't get it, man. Whatever. We've had this conversation way too many times, and it makes no sense whatsoever. Zero. Marlins, by the way, postponed yesterday. Tonight, 7:20, they start a 3-game set against the Braves. Drew Smiley taking on Pablo Lopez there. Let's see if the boys can get it done over the weekend. I love talking my crypto, right? I've been always a crypto guy here on the show, and I always love talking crypto. Did you hear what the Portland Trailblazers are going to do? And this is interesting because I always tell you guys, whether it's on Twitter or here, I always talk about different coins, right? So the Portland Trailblazers will sport Storm X. That's a coin that I've been telling you about for a while. I own quite a bit of Storm X. Advertising patches on their jerseys thanks to a sponsorship deal with the crypto cashback provider and Oregon's National Basketball Association. The partnership is both Storm X's first with a sports organization and the Trailblazers' first with a crypto company. Notwithstanding PayPal, which is a current patch partners on the Suns, StormX will be the first pure crypto firm to have its brand displayed on NBA jerseys. You know what I love? What I love is the people that keep fighting this and keep thinking that crypto is not real and that it's a farce and it's fake and it's a Ponzi scheme and all that kind of stuff. And listen, I always trip out with the old white guys that have been trading forever in stocks and all that kind of stuff, and they diss crypto. But you know why? Because they don't know jack about it. Since they don't know jack about it, they diss it. It's hilarious. You know what I mean? And so I follow this heavily. Okay, I'm telling you, I'm all over this stuff because I know that this is the future. You can see it, and you can see what's going on with these companies, and you can see what's going on with the blockchain. And for 12 years, you can't hack, Bitcoin. You can't hack a blockchain, and so it's become the safest way to do business. And so eventually, everything is going to be on a blockchain because artists are going to want to protect their properties. Companies are going to want to protect their websites and their holdings and everything that goes with it, from art to concert tickets to everything, you name it. You will not be able to hack it. And so that's why we're headed in that direction. And StormX has got all kinds of ties to sports teams. And that's why this is interesting that now Portland is going to put the StormX patch on there. The partnership, by the way, extends the ongoing crossover between the NBA and crypto following the success of the non-fungible token NBA Top Shot and FTX's sponsorship of the Miami Heat's home arena. StormX, by the way, provides an app and Google Chrome extensions that earns customers cash back in crypto on purchases from selected retailers, including Uber, eBay, and Microsoft. It also has its own token, STMX. And I'm a big believer in StormX. I'm telling you right now, I have my StormX. Let me see where it's at. I got it at gate.io, by the way. You can't get it at Coinbase. Where is my StormX here? Just to give you a little heads up, because we're still in a buying mode right now. We're still in a consolidation period, and you can still get a good deal on StormX. Damn it, where is it here? Okay, there we go. There we go. StormX right now is at 23 cents. It's a really good deal, by the way. Really good deal. And it's gonna go. I'm sorry. I'm looking at Chili's. It's 21 cents, StormX. I'm sorry, 2 cents. I'm sorry. Chili's is 23 cents, 0.23. StormX is 0.02. It's at 2 cents right now, StormX. Okay? And I'm telling you that thing is going to go up when it's all said and done. It's got a lot of great partnerships involved. And so, again, not a financial advisor, just a guy that loves crypto. But I'm telling you that StormX is a excellent investment. Put it this way. They were at 10 cents before this consolidation period. It's at 2. This is the very important part you got to know about altcoins. While we know Bitcoin's the monster and Ethereum is maybe even going to match Bitcoin down the line or surpass it, who knows? But those are the monsters. Those are the monsters of the midway. And then we've got, the Cardanos of the world and VeChains and Binance, although Binance has got some problems, dude. And they got some issues. Anyway, StormX and some of these altcoins, they took a huge dive during this whole thing. But StormX has a great business plan and great ties, great partnerships. Check it out. And it's only 2 cents. So it's not a heavy investment when it's all said and done. But think about this. If it goes back to 10 cents, you 5 times your money, or 4 times, technically. You know what I mean? So that's not too bad. Okay? And I expect it to go past the 10 cents when it's all said and done. So you can get it now at 2 cents. Load up on that StormX. Not a financial advisor, okay? Just a guy that loves crypto, and I've been talking about StormX for a while. Let's see. The biggest worry with crypto is that the government might try to shut it down. Oh, yeah, of course the government's going to shut it down. Yeah, because PayPal's getting involved and Amazon's getting involved and all the big financial institutions like Grayscale and what is it? Not Philip Morris. Man, are you kidding me, dude? All the people with money are involved in crypto. They're not going to ban it. Again, if you don't follow it, okay, that's what I get from people that don't follow it. They don't know what the hell's going on. The government, what they're afraid of, okay, and they can't stop it, is that DeFi is going to decertify them. That's the problem. And they know it. It's already coming, and they can't stop it. You can't stop crypto. They're not going to be able to stop it. China can't stop it. They can talk all the crap they want. Oh, we don't want crypto. Meanwhile, I don't know if you guys know this, VeChain is tied to China. Completely. They're doing so much business in China. So how's China going to tell you they're not in crypto when VeChain is up their butts in every business in China? They're part of their government. They're part of Amazon China. They're part of Purdue Chicken in China. They're part of so many companies. And China's got an interest in VeChain. It's, again, if you don't follow it, you're intimidated by it, and you listen to the FUD. That's a person there who said that. The problem with it, we're the biggest worry. Mike, well, Mike, you're really on a roll. That's the people that listen to like Coinbase.com and what's that other one? What's that other one? That all they do is put out FUD, dude. They have no idea what the hell's going on, and they just put fear crap into people. And none of it makes any sense whatsoever. Meanwhile, everybody's getting into crypto. All these major corporations, they're all putting their money into crypto because they know what's coming. They can fight it all they want. Banks, you're going to see, I've told you this before, bank branches, watch from now for the next 5 years. You saw remember how the public phone disappeared? Remember how you can't find a public phone anymore? Why? Because we're all walking around with these things, right? Guess what? Bank branches will go. You know why? Because you can do all your banking right here. You don't need a bank anymore. You can get your loan in 2 seconds and cheaper. You get your loan at a lower interest rate. You can make more money in crypto. I've already told you guys that you got money in savings. Let's say you got $1,000 in your savings account right now. How much you're earning in interest? Well, maybe 0.5%. Did you know that if you go to crypto.com right now and you move that $1,000 over and you buy USDC coin, okay, which is a stable coin, it stays at $1. All right, you will not lose your value ever. And you put it and you stake it, you'll get for the next 3 months, you'll get 10% on it. And then stake it again for 3 more months and stake it again for 3 more months. And you're getting 10% of your money on crypto. That's why certain people in the government, that white-haired woman at the what's her name? I forgot the damn name. But that's why they're all intimidated, because they're about to all become worthless. Because the people are going to be controlling their destiny a lot more than these corporations and institutions that dictate who gets the money and how, and they kill you on your credit check and all that stuff, and they make you pay more interest, and it's ridiculous, dude. It's insulting what goes on. And where you keep your money in banks, what the charges that they have in banks, it's ridiculous. They're stealing our money, dude. That's why DeFi is the way to go. That's where we're headed. But the people that don't follow it or intimidated or don't know jack and just listen to the half-ass reporters that really don't know anything about crypto And then they just put out some FUD. That's all they do. And then people get suckered, and guys like Mike Jamores is like, oh, the government's going to ban it. No, dude, how can they ban it? They're all tied to it. There's no way they're going to do it. They're all investing. They tell you whatever they want, but behind the scenes, look at Elon. Oh, we're not going to take Bitcoin. Did he sell any of his Bitcoin? No, he didn't sell any of his Bitcoin. And now he came back with, oh, no, we're going to take Bitcoin again once they, have a cleaner source of downloading, of mining the coins, which is a bunch of crap because it's most of the mining that goes on all over the world is done with clean energy. The problem is only in China. And those guys are moving. And they've already moved a lot of the miners because now the mining is going back up. But again, if you don't follow this, you don't know what the hell I'm talking about. You have no idea. There's no way they ban it. No way they ban it. Zero. Okay? Look at Venezuela is now using it as a currency. I think it's Paraguay now, I think it is. That is also going to use it. Another country. You're going to see these countries are going to be lining up and they're going to use Bitcoin and they're going to use RSR, reserve rights. That's another coin that's being used in Colombia, in Argentina, in Brazil. There's another country. There's a fourth country. They're already using reserve rights. And that's a stabilized coin because their government and their money has gone to crap. Kind of like what the guy we have that we voted in that is giving away money and ruining the dollar. And the value of the dollar is going to go down because of this. You know what I mean? But again, got to follow it, man. Got to follow it. Big O, just for fun, different discussion. Do you think a law should be passed that says no vaccine, no insurance coverage for COVID, exception for health reasons, preventing vaccinations? I listen, man, to me, I find again, unless you have a health issue, I don't understand why you don't have the vaccine. Okay? You know what I mean? I'll tell you, you know what I've gotten to now? This is where I'm a little pissed off. Okay? So we went through a little over a year where we were masking up to save each other because you never know who had COVID. We didn't have a vaccine. You could put your life at risk. You never know, right? So now most of us that have common sense, we have gotten the vaccine, right? And so we are helping the United States get back to normal again. We see what's going on in Brazil and India, right? They don't have the vaccine. They can't hand it to everybody out there. So less than 1% are vaccinated. And because they were ignorant also, because they didn't believe in the vaccine, they didn't think it was serious. Look at the thousands and thousands of people that are dying. Here in America, most of the people dying now or hospitalized are people that are not vaccinated. So I'm thinking about this. Those of us that are vaccinated already at this point, we had the common decency of masking up to protect each other. The people that are against it and making up all these cheap ass excuses about the vaccine, well, they didn't give a shit about us. They didn't give a shit about humanity. They didn't care about their fellow American. So let me ask you something. Those of us that are vaccinated, why the hell should we wear a mask now? And why should we care that others don't want to vaccinate and want to put themselves at risk? We're not at risk. We're not at risk of dying or getting hospitalized. I don't wear my mask anymore. I really don't. It's got to be a place that says it's required. And then I'll go in respectfully because the business requires it. But if they don't tell me to wear it, I don't wear it anymore. I'm vaccinated, man. I did my part. I went over a year with the mask. Why should I fight the ignorance? The ignorant people are the ones that are going to end up dying. That's the way it goes. I can't do anything about it, dude. The vaccine's there. You don't want to take it? You want to put your life at risk? You go ahead. I mean, how do we annihilate polio? With a damn vaccine. It's what we do. It's common sense. It's been done for 100 years. What's the difference? Why are we fighting this? So, I don't know what to tell you, my brother. El Salvador, Big O. You are absolutely right. That's what Carlos C. says. Where can I learn more about crypto? Miguel, you got to read about crypto. Okay. Now, I'll tell you this. Do I have it on this one? Try to, you know what I gotta do? I gotta put a list of places where you guys can get your articles from where you can trust, because there's some places like Coinbase.com. I think it's called Coinbase.com if I'm correct. Coindesk.com. Coindesk.com most of the time has really bad information. Like really bad information. You know, they got reporters that they probably listen to people that are intimidated or don't like crypto or don't know anything about crypto. And so they kind of, are scared of it or whatever, or like Mike, oh, the government's going to ban it. No, they're not. It's like, if you know what's going on, that's just FUD. That's crap. Nobody's going to ban it. There's too many billionaires and people with a lot of power and money and influence that are involved in crypto, and they're the ones that put all these people in office anyways. So they're not going to ban it. You know what I mean? But you got to be careful where you read. But yes, I would say do a lot of reading on. Listen, like I told you, StormX. Go StormX Google. Go in Google and hit StormX and learn about it. Learn about VeChain. Learn about Cardano. Okay? Cardano is a monster in the making. It's going to explode. Okay? Learn about Ethereum. Ethereum is still at a pretty decent price at 2,100. It's to get in at this point. It was at 4,000. It's going to soar past 4,000. So you're going to double your money already. Again, not a financial advisor, just a guy that loves crypto. But to me, you have to do your homework when it comes to this. You have to. And you have to do a lot of reading and checking it out and finding out what the market cap is, what their partnerships are, who owns it, what is part of that ownership group, how many coins are available, because that's also very important. Like Dogecoin, what scares me about Dogecoin is that they can print and print and print, and it doesn't end. And that's not good for value. You want a limited number so that way the value can then grow. That's the thing about Bitcoin. Once they get to the 21 million Bitcoins that are mined, it's over. There's no more coins. So then the value is going to soar. Okay. And remember, you can buy only portions. Like Bitcoin is at, $33,000, $34,000 right now. You don't have to buy 34,000 of it. You can just buy $50 of it, $5, $100 of it. You're still getting your portion of it. And when it doubles, your money doubles. You know what I mean? But again, the really smart thing is to pick certain altcoins that are going to climb, and they're much lower, and you're going to be able to double and triple and quadruple and 5 times your money, down the line. Like when I was telling you guys about VeChain, it was at 7 and 8 and 9 cents. It soared to 25. So if any of you listened to me a few months back when it was at 7 and you got it and it went to 25 cents, you tripled your money. And if you sold, you got out. Now it went back down again, and it's been stuck around the 11, 12, 13 range, but it's going to soar back up again. And when it's dipped in this whole deal and it's gone down to 7 and 8 and 9 cents, I've bought again. Because I know it's going to go to $1 eventually. And if I got it at 7, 8, or 9 cents, I'm going to 10 times my money, man. So, and go look at the partnerships of VeChain. It'll blow you away, and all the things that they're doing. But you gotta study it, man. You gotta take the time to read about it. Local health departments reported 18 new cases this week. 3 of them were fully vaccinated. Yep, exactly. And they are not hospitalized, and they won't die, Mike. Again, I got it, bro. I got you already. You're a spin master. That's it. You're the guy. You can't have a discussion with you. I got you. You're the guy that is never wrong. You're always right. Big O, kids under 11 don't have a vaccine. They can't help that and can't get sick. Exactly. I know that. I know. Well, with kids is different. I'm just saying adults, those of us that can, Most people don't know how to read, Big O. Eddie Lepp says, agree with Lazy, as well as kids whose parents are against the vaccine. It's not their fault. Still be careful. Yep. Even politicians are involved in crypto. Of course, John. Please. Plenty of politicians are involved. They're not stupid. They have financial advisors. They tell them, like, hey, go buy Cardano. Go buy Ethereum. Go buy VeChain. You know what I mean? Dude, go buy Polygon or Matic. You know, they tell them. They know. They're not stupid. What they want is to scare the crap out of all of you out there. So you sell. Do you know? I'll give you a little, and I know maybe I'm talking a little too much crypto here. I'm sorry. Do you know that in Bitcoin over the last 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, I think it was, $2.6 billion was sold out from people, not companies, not like big whales that are holding millions and billions of crypto. No. People they own 100, they own 1,000, they own 5,000, and they bought it at 45 and 50 and 55 and 60 and 65, and they sold it in the 30s because they panicked. Because like Mike, they listened to this FUD out there. Oh, the government's going to block it. China, this, that. And that's what they want. These big companies that own the media companies, and they're also tied to financial companies, they're the ones putting out that FUD because they want the regular Joe to sell their crypto and panic. So they drop the price, and then these whales come in and they buy billions at a cheaper price, and they make it out. Elon Musk, what he has done, I got to tell you something. It's flat out criminal what he's done. The FUD he's put out and made people nervous. And because he's Elon Musk, people listened to him, and people panicked and sold out and lost money when they had to just stay strong, hold out, because crypto has its peaks and valleys. Now, the valleys are going to be higher every time there's one of those dips. It went to 8,000 a couple years back. It's not going to go to 8,000 ever again. It won't even go to the 20s like they said. It hit 28, but it went back up again right away. It's going to skyrocket and pass 65 soon enough. And when it does, all those people that sold out, they're going to regret, and they lost $2.6 billion in the last couple of weeks. Why? Because of people putting out the FUD and people believing all that stuff. Okay? And that's the issue now. You have people that are manipulating the market. The powerful people are manipulating the market, and they scare the people that don't do their homework, because there's a lot of people that just buy crypto because they hear somebody say it and they bought it, but they don't know anything about the coin. They don't know anything about the company. They don't know anything that they've invested in. A friend of them told them, no, buy this and you'll make money. And then they see the numbers, and if it goes down, they panic and no, let me at least get some of my money back. And it's like, no, man, you had to stay strong. In fact, what you had to do was buy more. That's what you're supposed to do. When the dip comes, you buy more is what you're supposed to do. So when it goes back up again, you're making a lot more. That's what the smart people do. Anyway, I think that's enough crypto talk for today. The vaccine is not 100% proof why we need to take a booster shot every year. So, Big O, continue wearing your mask and practice good hygiene. I practice good hygiene. And if we need, right now, there hasn't been, right now, they're not talking about a booster yet. In fact, the new variant that's out there, apparently, if you took Pfizer or Moderna, it fights against those. And they just said that the vaccine shots that we took now may last for years. It may protect us for years to come now. Not worried about that, whether I need a vaccine or not, and all hygiene, but we vaccinated, so now we're not going to get hospitalized and we're not going to die. And that's the main thing. Yeah, you can still catch it, but you're not going to die. Now, the people that don't vaccinate, they're the ones at risk of dying and getting hospitalized and ending up on a ventilator. Which to me, again, just that alone, I don't know why you wouldn't have the vaccine. I have my mom in her 80s in home who has many risk factors, and she says 95% immunity can kill you. I wear my mask out of respect to her, but I agree with you in principle. Yeah, no, but yeah, of course you have to do that with your mom, dude. That's different. That's different than what I'm saying with these people that are constantly fighting it and creating all kinds of lies about it. You know, I mean, come on, dude. There's magnets inside. Seriously, come on, bro. What are you, from QAnon? Big O, this is Chris from Arizona, formerly from Miami. Been listening to you for years, sir. Keep up the great work. Go all Florida sports team. You know it, Chris. Thank you, sir. Musk is a douche. I agree. See, Mike, you finally said something. I agree with you. He is a douche. Dude, he cost so many people money. I hate it, man. I can't stand it. People, hardworking people that probably they didn't do their homework, but they didn't need to be scared into losing their money, man. That's just so wrong on every level. TA stands for technical analysis. This is what I do on my channel. I just started, so people don't panic. TA also stands for tits and ass. LOL. Damn right, Moondog. David says, if USA ever gets to 80% fully vaccinated, doubtful with politicians divide, the virus would totally fizzle. The new game is not to have 0 cases, but almost 0 hospitalizations and death. You are right, David. Amen to that, sir. Will the U.S. dollar be worthless eventually? I don't think so. I don't think we're going to get to that. But we're going to go through a dip. We're going to go through. You can't spend this kind of money that Biden's doing. You can't print all that kind of money. Okay. Amen. Most people, I don't want to get too much into politics, but if you voted for Biden, you probably didn't, in your heart of hearts, you probably didn't vote for him because you thought he was going to be some great president. Okay. You probably voted for him because he was going to take the vaccine at least seriously, unlike orange hair. That's all. That's it. But if any of you actually think that Biden's going to, take us to the promised land, that ain't going to happen. He's just going to, at least he did what he had to do with the virus. After that, we'll get rid of him in 3 more years. I don't know who's next. We'll get another bad candidate like we have for the last 20-something years, but whatever. It is what it is. Oh, man. All right. Remember, you can reach out to us on YouTube. You can reach out to us on, you can also support us by, what's it called? Cash App. And the name is Cash Big O Show. Cash Big O Show. If you want to support the show on Cash App and on Twitter, if you got a question, a comment, an insult, we'll take it all, baby. At Big O Show. There you go. Get ready to pay high taxes. It's called inflation. Oh, it's coming, Rosendo. It's coming, dude. It's coming. It's coming. Pipe man. Trump 2024. Where, from jail? Is it from behind bars? That's the other. I love that one. I love the Trumpies that think he's actually going to come back in 2024. That's freaking hilarious. Don't worry, guys. Big O will take us to the promised land. I hope so. I hope so. I hope I take you to the crypto promised land. If you're right, if we're riding the same cryptos, let's hope, man. Let's hope we can get the crypto going. I'd love to hit one of these crypto things big and then retire and just do this show from a beach somewhere. And that's it. Just come to you guys with the beach as my background. Just hanging out. That's it. That's what I would love to do. Oh, man. All right. What else do we have going on the show? Inter Miami, by the way, will take on CF Montreal tomorrow at 7:30, Red Bull Arena. They're both going to New Jersey. They're both practicing here, but obviously we got the Gold Cup going on, and then they're going up there to play. Robbie Robinson and Jovan Jones are out. Miami's lost 4 in a row. Let's hope the boys can bounce back because, man, it has been absolutely depressing. I want to talk a little Dolphins because I am super impressed. Alex, you want to kill me, bro? He put Big O for president in 2024. Haven't you seen all these people that leave the president's office, man? They're just all beaten up already. You know what I mean? Ronald Reagan lost his memory. Obama turned completely white. Bill Clinton was ruining the lives of interns everywhere. I mean, it's a disaster to be the president, bro. It's a disaster. I don't want that job for anything. Anyway, so let's have a little fun here. I want to talk some Dolphins because I am really impressed with everything that Flo has done and how he has set his team up mentally, physically, how they have improved throughout the year. In both years that he's been coach, they have gotten better as the season's gone on. And that is a tribute to the coaching staff. It shows that he knows what the hell he's doing. Plus, more importantly, as the season wears out and players get more tired and their bodies are more beaten up, they're still doing everything that the coach wants. And I think that's absolutely phenomenal because you can tell that there's a connection with the players and the coach, and there's a respect factor. And the other thing that I've been so impressed with Flo is that he has a really good feel for his team, right? And one of the things that I love about what they're doing this season, okay? Now, last season, poor kid gets drafted. He has to recover from his hip injury. He doesn't have an offseason. There's a pandemic. There's no mini camps. There's no training camp. There's no preseason. He's not the starter. The offense is not built for him. The coach that's coaching Fitzpatrick has coached Fitzpatrick now in 3 teams. So he really knows what Fitzpatrick likes and where he excels in and all that. And so he used that. So once the kid had to fill in, he kind of had to fill in with that same offense that isn't really suited to him. Plus the talent around him was really weak, that for a rookie quarterback, you probably need a little bit more help. But even saying that, I still think Tua was phenomenal. Physically, he held up. He had a winning record. He threw more touchdowns than interceptions. I love what Tua did, considering everything he lacked. Boom. Okay, here's 2021. So now Tua is healthy, has an offseason. He's been throwing to his guys on his own time. Now he's had some mini camps, and now comes training camp and the preseason, correct? But what I love, and one of my favorite things to do as a beat writer, okay, my number one thing was the Senior Bowl. That's my favorite week of the year in the NFL for preparing for football and those kind of things because of all the information and the players and everything. And the NFL people are there, and I can talk to them and get them in a different light. Love that week, right? The other thing that I used to love about covering football was when the Dolphins would go practice against another team for 3 days. Why do I tell you that? Because I've talked to many coaches over the years. Let me explain something. When you practice with a team for 3 days, every coach will pretty much tell you, I don't know if they'll admit it publicly, but behind the scenes, they've told me it's more productive than a preseason game. It's more productive than training camp. It's more productive than any mini camp. You get a better feel for your team because you put them up against a real opponent in all situations. And so over 3 days, you're running so many different kinds of drills and one-on-ones and team practices and all that kind of stuff that you end up getting a better feel. And I love that Flo did it twice. So this year, they're going to have joint practices against the Falcons and the Bears. The Bears will be at Soldier Field August 11th and 12th prior to the first preseason game. And then against Atlanta and the practice facility at the Finns' new practice facility on August 18th and 19th. This, not only will you have training camp and not only will you have some preseason games, but now you're going to have these 2 sessions against these teams. To me, this is absolutely awesome because Tua's offseason now, he's had all the, his own practices with his guys to get timing down, to get, better feel for himself and all of that. He's had now his mini camps, and now he's going to have training camp, and he's going to have these practices and the preseason. The lack of preparation, the lack of opportunity that he had last year, and the injury that he had to also overcome really limited what he could do going into that season, and yet he still was really productive. Do you know how good I think he'll be this? I've told you already he's going to throw for 30 touchdowns. I think Tua is going to have an awesome year. But I love that Flo is doing everything to help prepare the kid, help prepare the offensive line, help get the timing down for the quarterback and the receivers and the tight ends. Because remember, it's not just Gesicki. Now you've added the other kid, the Hunter Long kid from Boston College. So here's another guy that Tua needs to get kind of the timing down. And some of the guys like a Malcolm Perry, guys like that will get a better opportunity to get a feel for the offense, and those kind of cats will get an opportunity to actually grow in the system and get more opportunities throughout the year, because now they're going to have more opportunities to get prepared. This is going to help out everybody. Austin Jackson hasn't had an offseason in 2 years. He didn't have an offseason this past year, and he didn't have an offseason the year before because he was giving bone marrow to his sister. So here's a kid that now gets an entire offseason, gets to work on his body, gets to have all those practices, gets to play against the Falcons and the Bears for a couple days each. I just think that this is just another chapter to watching a team being built and growing every single day and doing things the right way. Look, those of you that have followed this podcast, you guys know that I've been incredibly positive about the changes with the Dolphins, and I kind of, in a way, was, expecting this to go in the right direction, because I was convinced that Chris Greer was going to build things the right way, the way a real football team is supposed to be built, and that's exactly what's happened. And then, I didn't know crap from Flo like the rest of you out there. We just thought he was another New England coach, and we're afraid, like, oh, the track record's not good. And so now it's been great the first 2 years. And all those things I just told you to start this segment about Flo is true. It's just he understands how to run a football team. Chris knows how to build one, and Flo knows how to run the team. And I can't tell you how much more pumped up I am about this Dolphins season than I have been in over a quarter century. It's been a long time, man. The last 25 years, this is the most pumped up I am about the Dolphins. This is when I feel that fundamentally they're going to be the team that gives themselves a chance to win every single week, because the coaching staff is constantly prepared. The players play hard and smart overall. The front office is shrewd, and they know what the hell they're doing. And setting up these practices just shows me that they are going to do whatever it takes to make sure their team is prepared for the 2021 season. So I say congratulations to Flo and the Dolphins for adding these practices, because that's going to make their team better. And I can't wait to watch Tua absolutely kick freaking ass, because that's exactly what he's going to do this year. He's going to kick ass. Okay? So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Okay? I'm streaming the Big O Show through my vaccine arm. I hear you in my left arm. Oh, that's what NorCal says. Raging Dolphin Maniac, Big O would never be dumb enough to be president. No, God. Would never want to be president. You could never win in that position. Doesn't matter who you are, Democrat, Republican. Big O, you think Gesicki will get his extension by early camp? Great move if Greer is able to get it done. I think he will get it eventually. I'm not one of those that thinks that because they drafted Hunter Long, they're going to get rid of Gesicki. I think they're going to sign Gesicki, and I think they want to have a two-headed attack at tight end. Remember, you don't have to pay Long for 4 years. So Gesicki can actually live out the contract you're about to give him. And if you want to cut him 3-4 years from now because, you've used him up pretty much, and now you want to elevate Long and draft another guy because you have to pay Long and then you let him go and draft another guy, you can do it. The cycle's fine for that. And again, very smart too. Incredibly smart by the front office. You know what I mean? Because you could get to a point where you're not paying both. Because 3 years from now, you cut Gesicki and then you go and pay Hunter Long. It's not a bad deal. And the cap hit, if you let him go for that 4th year, will probably be very minimal at that point. So I think it's going to happen. I think they're keeping Gesicki, and I think they want a 2 tight end attack because it creates more mismatches and it makes it easier for the quarterback. Let's see what else. If Greer is able to get the extension done with Gesicki and the tight end from Boston College shows out, then for years we'll have a dynamic 1-2 punch at tight end. Exactly. We just got to see the other kid because he's unproven. We don't know yet. Maybe Mike can tell us since he knows that Jalen Waddle will be the best returner in the NFL. Let's see. What else do we have? Rosendo says, we'll be interested to look at Justin Fields and Kyle Pitts in action. Yeah, that'll be fun. I'm with you. And good for like Javon Holland having to cover Kyle Pitts and stuff like that. I like the mismatch. I like the match up, not mismatch, match up. Big O, in your opinion, what are the pros and cons of the Dolphins dual OC setup? NorCal, that's a fantastic question that you're asking me. What are the pros and cons of the OC setup? Okay. The con would be if both are equally calling the games. But if it's only one guy calling the games, which is what I think it is, I don't think that's a con. I find it to be a pro. The cons will be if one of them is weak at their job. If one of them is not good in the passing game or one of them is not good in the running game and is not preparing the team the right way, that'll be a problem. But I don't look at it as a con if both are good coaches, because it happens in college all the time. They have multiple coordinators. That happens in several colleges. They do that kind of stuff. So while this is a little different, I mean, listen, man, things evolve, life evolves, sports evolve. Things are different nowadays compared to, we were just talking about the return game in the first hour with Jakeem Grant. If Jakeem Grant was around 20, 30 years ago, his numbers would be dwarfed right now. He would be even better. He would have more touchdowns, better return numbers. Why? Because you could get away with different things 20, 30 years ago in the return game that you cannot do nowadays. And that's why the return game is a lot more limited now than it has been, yet he's still a threat. Life changes. And so these guys are experimenting with two offensive coordinators. I can't say it's not going to work, because if you have two good coaches, it's got to work. If the communication is there, if the respect is there, it's got to work. So I really don't know if this is going to be a positive or a negative until it actually happens. But the only way I see it being a negative, a con, like you put it, would be that one of these coaches is incompetent, that there's an ego stuck in the middle or something like that. You know what I mean? And one might not be doing a good job calling it, and the guy that's not calling on game day is kind of bitching and complaining to the coach and saying, yo, man, I could do a better job than this or something like that. Then that's how it could cause a rift and a problem in there. But if both guys are respectful and both guys have an expertise and they're willing to work together, I think it should work out with no problem at all. I don't think this should be an issue at all. It's just got to be laziness or incompetence or ego is the only thing that could probably ruin this whole marriage. Big O, you better be right, since I have wagered with my coworkers on Tua versus their teams QB. Well, I'm a Tua guy, bro. What can I tell you? Mike says Hunter Long strikes me as a very QB-friendly tight end. Well, I tell you, the highlights were pretty impressive. John Rouse couldn't get Pitts, but got a damn good one for the second best. Yeah, I like the kid. Let's just see if he can translate and get it done. Eddie says, agree. I haven't been this hopeful for the Finns since the Marino days. Exactly. Pat in Nashville, the Dolphins appear to have a much better depth at most positions this year. Oh, yeah. And it's only year 3 of the rebuild. This rebuild has gone by so fast. And when we started this, people, yours truly, by the way, I thought year 4 would be maybe a playoff year. You know, year 3, hell, year 2 was almost a playoff year. But year 3, this year should be the playoff year. This rebuild has gone by, I mean, really, really quick. There wasn't a long suffering. It was really, I got to tell you, we suffered only the first half of the first season. That's it, dude. The second half of that first season, they ended up winning 5 games and knocking the Patriots out of the bye week and forcing them into the wild card round, which was the beginning of the end of the dynasty. So I enjoyed the hell. I mean, I enjoyed the whole season because I love the developmental part of all of this. But the second half I loved of the first season. Enjoyed the hell out of it. And then last year, I mean, who didn't love last year? Love last year. 10 wins? Are you kidding me? That's freaking awesome. Flo is plus 1,400 for coach of the year, and Tua's plus 5,500. So I put $6 down to win 330. LOL. Why not? Why not? That's a good one. That's like, betting on Sheba. Yeah, you buy a couple shibs, and if it hits, you're all right. And if it doesn't, yeah, you throw the money away. No big deal. As long as you understand, no big deal. You give it away. I think the O-line will be the most improved unit this season. Alex, if that's true, they're going to be monsters this year. They're going to be monsters. They used the Senior Bowl as a tryout for the 2 offensive coordinator approach. If it didn't work then, they'd only have 1 OC by now. Yeah, I think it'll be all right. It's going to take certain issues, like I told you, to ruin it. The elimination of the crackback block made it tougher to return kicks today. Yeah, no, and the wedge and all that stuff. You can't blow up the wedge like you used to. There's a lot of things that made it, and then they also pushed it forward, right? The kickoff. So it made it even 5 yards forward, right? I think it was. So that made it even tougher. Is Tom Olivadotti available? I think we lost Olivadotti. Now that I think about it, I know we joke around with Olivadotti. He was a terrible defensive coordinator. I don't know if he's still with us. Why do I think he passed away? Maybe I'm wrong. I'm sorry if I killed the man. Let's see. I am not worried about this defense, even if Howard doesn't play this season. I kind of agree with you, Alex. I kind of agree with you on that one. Because there was no X in the first year, and the defense only got better. They only won more games as the season went on. They only won the biggest game of the year in Week 17 in New England. So you could be right, man. You could be right on that one. Do you expect Raekwon Davis to have a stellar year? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I think he's going to be a monster. Yes, I love Raekwon Davis, man. That definitely is going to be a really good move for the Miami Dolphins. He kind of was figuring things out last year. By the way, did you see what Zach LaVine did the other day? So Zach LaVine went into a shoe store to buy some sneakers, and he saw some kids there. So LaVine ended up buying those kids some Jordans when it's all said and done. I thought that was really, really cool for the young man to do that. It says he was at a sneaker shop in California, got the surprise of a lifetime because Zach LaVine popped in and he hooked the kids up with new Jordans. 4 lucky kids were hanging out at Switch Studios in Irvine when the Bulls star showed up looking for some new shoes. We're told the foursome, who had just wrapped up a soccer tournament, knew the NBA player right off the bat and couldn't help but ask for his autograph. That's when LaVine got generous and told each kid to pick out 1 pair of kicks for themselves. LaVine plopped down his credit card to buy each kid a pair of Jordans for UNCs that came out April 28th, and you can see the kids were pumped with the gifts. LaVine, by the way, didn't go home empty-handed either. He bought himself some new Yeezys. In total, he spent about $3,000 for himself and the young fans. How cool is that, man? Those kids will never forget that for the rest of their lives. It's just one of those moments that will stick to them forever, and Zach LaVine will be super cool. I'll tell you, I was with my one of my best friends, and we were getting signatures from the Orioles and the Yankees at Miami Baseball Stadium. And this is late 70s, okay? So, the Yankee teams we're talking about, I mean, young people have no idea what I'm talking about, but you know what I'm talking about, Reggie Jackson and Mickey Rivers and all that stuff, and Flanagan and Palmer and all, it was stars on both sides, Orioles and Yankees. Those Oriole teams were really, really good. Mike Flanagan, I think, was on that team, all that stuff. Anyway, Eddie Murray, I think Eddie Murray was there before he went to the Dodgers, right? Wasn't it like that? Anyway, so loaded. And so we're getting all these signatures. We had every signature of every Oriole and every Yankee except Reggie Jackson. We're missing Reggie. Reggie wasn't there batting. Everybody was there. It's pregame, so they're all there in the batting cages and all that stuff. And if anybody went to the old Miami baseball stadium, there were little fences, like 2.5-foot fence or something. You could easily jump over and go into the diamond if you felt like it. Not that we did that in those days. We were respectful. We understood where we belong. We don't do a lot of the stupid things that they do nowadays. And they didn't need that kind of security or anything like that, like in today's world. So we're sitting there and we're waiting for Reggie Jackson. And we hear some dude screaming in Spanish, all kinds of bad words. So whoever it was, he must have been pissed. And you can hear it, because we were literally next to the dugout. And you can hear the person coming through the hallway of the dugout to come out of the dugout to go onto the field. And sure enough, it's Reggie Jackson. First of all, my buddy and I, which we're both, Cuban parents, born here, but Cuban parents, so we speak Spanish. We looked at each other like, holy crap, Reggie Jackson speaks Spanish, which I never knew he spoke Spanish until that moment right there. He's Puerto Rican. He has Puerto Rican in. So, again, I didn't even know that at that moment. And so, we're like 10 years old, dude, 11 years old or whatever it is. We don't have any tact because normally you see somebody pissed, you don't want to approach them at that moment, right? But we're a bunch of kids. We don't know any better. And we're like, hey, Reggie, can we get your autograph? And he was like, no, not now. So we're like disappointed. We didn't get Reggie Jackson's autograph. Because we had a whole bunch of great players and we were just missing Mr. October, And so I think this is right before he became Mr. October, actually. Even before I don't think he had the nickname at that moment still. Because it's like, we're talking like 77. I don't know. I gotta look back. I don't even remember now at this point. So we're disappointed. We're depressed. We're standing there like, oh man. So we're going to wait for Reggie to come back to see if we can get the autograph. So lo and behold, who's sitting in the dugout watching all of this? Yogi Berra. So Yogi goes, hey, kids, come on over here. And we were like, it's like, you don't just jump. We looked at each other like, do we go? Because we're not supposed to do that. And he looks at us, goes, don't worry, come on over here. So we hop over the fence, which doesn't take much effort, and we go sit in the dugout with Yogi Berra for 20 minutes. Just talking baseball, telling us what we're getting the signatures. Not that he helped us get Reggie Jackson, because he must have known something like Reggie's an a-hole at this moment. Don't even approach him. I don't think we saw Reggie during those 20 minutes anyways. I think he was out there on the field and batting practice and all that. And so he just talked baseball with us, and he was super cool. And I'm 54 years old, and I never forgot that about Yogi Berra, cheering us up and talking to us. And then, like, dude, we got to sit in the dugout, even though it's Miami Stadium, but we're sitting in the dugout with a freaking legend in Yogi Berra, It's like super cool. And that's something that kind of stuck with you forever, So just, I know what these kids are going through when LaVine buys them the shoes. And it's just something that will stick with you forever. And when I saw that story, I immediately thought of Yogi Berra, because it's a moment that sticks with you when somebody like that, and you're a kid, is nice to you and does something. And, I don't know if it's going to influence you and change your life or anything like that, but it's a really cool moment that you can always reflect on. And I always had and I don't care about the Yankees or the Orioles. I was a Phillies fan. Okay. Growing up, Mike Schmidt is my guy. I Greg Maddox, the Gary Maddox, I'm sorry. Trio, Boone, Carlton. I mean, those are my guys from back in the day because we didn't have the Marlins. Once we got the Marlins, I dropped the Phillies. Once we got the Heat, I dropped the Sixers. Okay. Once we got the Panthers, I dropped the Flyers. I was a complete Philly fan, except the Eagles, because I had my Dolphins. But I always loved the other sports, so I had to pick something. My dad used to go to Philadelphia all the time for trucking. So that's why I ended up, kind of falling in love with the Philly teams. And I've got there's right here to my left, there's a 6-foot poster of Dr. J going up in the air and dunking in a Sixers uniform. So, that's, Doc is still my guy to this day. It's my favorite basketball player of all time. So, I don't care about the Yankees or the Orioles, but I will always have a soft spot in my heart for Yogi Berra because he reached out to a child who was kind of depressed about not getting the last signature that we needed to complete the Yankee banner. Cool thing. Charlie Huff, Florida Marlins original, was one of the pitchers that gave up one Reggie Jackson's 3-run home run in Game 6 of the World Series Classic in 1977. Oh, there you go. I don't even remember now at this point, dude. I don't remember. So did we give him the Mr. October right in 1977 or by the end of the 1970s did he have that? I don't even remember now when he got that label. Miami Stadium was the best. Watched Eddie Murray play there along with Ripken, et cetera. Yeah. So did I, man. We used to, I remember when the tickets for spring training would go on sale, my dad and I would race down there the first day and we'd buy all the Orioles versus Yankee tickets and all the Orioles versus Phillies tickets. So, because he knew that he had to bring me for any Phillies games to Miami Baseball Stadium because that was my guy. I had to go see Mike Schmidt, man. That's my guy and that's my team. So I had to go to those games. So yeah, and he was an enormous Yankees fan. Rest in peace. My dad loved his Yankees, like a lot of Cuban guys that came from the island. They were most of them were either Yankees, Red Sox, or Reds fans. It's kind of like those are kind of the teams. A lot of people became Orioles fans here in South Florida because we had the Orioles at Miami Baseball Stadium. So they kind of became a favorite for a lot of people. And some of you also became Atlanta Braves fans because that was the team that they would show locally down here too. What was it? CIX, right? Channel 6, I think, carried the Braves, I want to say. So it was way before the TBS and TNT days. I think it was WCIX, if I'm correct. Somebody will correct me out there that is old, like I am. Is my memory correct that there was Cuban baseball in Miami back in the day? Well, the Sugar Kings of Miami or whatever they're called. Yeah. Yeah, that back in the day. I think it was called the Miami Sugar Kings or something like that. Yogi Berra, 10-time world champion, great player, 3 times MVP. Yep. And an even better human being. Love those kind of stories. Yeah, we just some of these people make it happen, and Zach LaVine made it happen. Super Boom Check says, I grew up a Red Sox fan in the 70s and 80s because Florida had no team. See what I mean? Told you. Growing up, forget it, I was alone. Nobody was a Phillies fan. And I think I also picked the Phillies because everybody in my neighborhood was either a Yankees fan, a Red Sox fan, an Orioles fan, a Dodgers fan. I think those were the 4 major teams that I would run into, like fans, kids. They usually had those 4 teams as their favorites. And I was like, I'm not picking the same team everybody picks. So I picked the Phillies. Fell in love with Mike Schmidt. When I was playing Little League, always wore number 20, always played third base, usually. Yeah. So, yeah, that was my guy. But I didn't want to pick what everybody else picked. I don't like the fact that Gesicki only showed up for one of the following sessions with 2 of the spring. Oh, Shay, that's not a big deal. Maybe he had some things to do, dude. You never know. There might have been something personal. You have no idea what goes on. He might have had something family-wise. He might have had something that he had to attend. We have no idea. So it can't be, we gotta we don't have all the information, O'Shea. So we can't really pick on the kid. It might be something absolutely legit he missed for. What if a family member had an operation or something? He had to be. What if he had to go to a funeral? What if one of his family members was getting married? He had to travel for it or whatever. You just never know. We have no idea why he didn't show up for one. To me, that all those kind of sessions, they're nice, but it's mini camps and now practicing against the Falcons and the Bears and preseason. That's what's important right now for Gesicki along with Tua. Those things are, they're icing on the cake to have that. But if he didn't show up to one of them, I would imagine that something went on in his life. Maybe he had a vacation already planned with the family and you couldn't change it. You just never know, man. You never know. Nico says, I grew up a Yankees Mets fan. Wow. That's weird, Nico. That's weird, bro. My dad took me to Yankee stadiums and Shea Stadium back in the mid-'80s. Strawberry, Gooden, Dykstra. A lot of cocaine there. What a squad. Imagine the outings those guys had. Yeah. Those three and Cocaine Keith Hernandez. Yeah, that's a party. Let's go. Let's go to Tony Montana's house. I felt so bad for Bill Buckner. Oh, man. I'm a Flyers fan, too. Outside of the Miami teams, Finns, Panthers, and Marlins, teams are my favorite, as are Orioles and Flyers. Okay. All right. Don't forget, folks, smash the hell out of that like button. That is the most important thing you can do for our show today is smash the hell out of the like button. Obviously, we want you to visit our sponsors. You want to send in questions. Obviously, we want you to Cash App if you want to take care of us that way and support us that way. Cash Big O Show. Many different ways to support the show. But, man, hitting that like button, subscribing, it is absolutely imperative that you do that. So if you can do that, I would be appreciative in a monster way if you can hit the hell out of that like button, man. Big O, it's apparent that the Tampa Bay Lightning will win the Stanley Cup again, but at least the Panthers were more competitive against them compared to the Flames. Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. It's or you mean the Canadians, right? Isn't it? Is it the Canadians, right? Sorry, did I get it wrong? I'm kind of brain farting here. You see? Yeah, it's the Canadians, isn't it? That's in there. Not the Yeah, it's the Canadians. I'm sorry. But yeah, and right now they're more competitive than the Canadians, right? Because they're up 2-0. You know? Super Boom Shack comes up with the Atlanta Flames. Yeah. Atlanta. They had the Flames and the Predators, right? Flames moved obviously to Calgary. Did they dissolve the Predators or the Predators became another team? I forgot now. Damn. Now I forgot. But Atlanta's had 2 hockey teams, dude. Crazy. The Tampa Bay goal, yes, he is. He's awesome. And it's crazy, right? Because the Tampa Bay goalie is impressive as hell, but the Cats got to him several times throughout the year and even in the playoffs a little bit. Listen, man, Cats had a hell of a year. It's just they lost to the best team in the damn league right now. Sucks. It really does that they had to lose to the best team in the league. By the way, did you guys see that the Dodgers, speaking of a little baseball, this is not baseball talk. It's actually life talk. But did you see that the Dodgers are going to start what's it called? Trevor Bauer. Trevor Bauer ended up, I don't know if he beat up the woman, because apparently they had I read the text, a string between them, and she wanted like physical sex, right? And, he even said to her, do you really know what pain is? And she was like, give it to me and all this kind of crap. And apparently he beat her up really good. I mean, like her face was it's pretty ugly what was going on there. And yet now the defense for Trevor Bauer is that he, this is what she wanted, right? And I don't know how many of you have seen her face and how she looks. They don't put her, they don't show you her eyes, but I can show you how it looks. You see that? So he choked her with her own hair, apparently, all that kind of stuff. So they're using it like a he said, she said thing, because she wanted the rough sex. So he gave her the rough sex. And now Major League Baseball is going to investigate this thing. But the Dodgers, because Major League Baseball told them, hey, you go ahead with your rotation like normal. We're going to investigate it. I got to tell you something. This is a terrible look for the Dodgers. Okay. It's disturbing. Look, I get it. You want rough sex or whatever. I'm sure some of you have rough sex every once in a while with your loved one or somebody or whatever. But when you're a person that's in a public eye like this, first of all, if you're Trevor Bauer, you got to have more common sense than go exchange texts with a complete stranger to have sex, and then you're going to beat her up in the process. You got to think that that's not going to be good for you in the end, because you're Trevor Bauer. You're making a lot of money. You're not Joe Schmo that nobody knows, and you're just a blue collar guy, and she's a blue collar girl, and you guys had some rough sex, and okay, maybe it went under the table. It's no big deal. She got turned on by it. You got turned on by it, whatever. But if you're an athlete, or you're an entertainer, or a musician, or a politician, somebody famous with power, common sense has got to step in and say, wait a minute, I'm not going to beat this woman up because she wants me to beat her up. That's going to set me up for something. So either you're set up for a terrible embarrassment now, you're set up because now people will think you're an abuser, right? No matter what happens, people will be convinced that you're an abuser. And maybe you're not. Maybe she wanted this. I don't know. I mean, it sounds crazy, but at one point, doesn't common sense step in if you're Trevor Bauer and, nah, I'm not doing this, dude. I'm not going to meet a stranger, go have sex with her and beat her up because that's what she wants. That's going to open me up to a lawsuit and criticism and bad press and all that stuff. And I get it. Trevor Bauer's lawyer released the text, and there's some stuff where she's teasing that she wants some rough play. But if I'm the Dodgers, I would sit down with Trevor and say, hey, Trevor, listen, we don't know if you're guilty or not. We're going to stand behind you, but they're investigating you. And right now, it's not a good look for our club to put you out there, because we have to do what's in the best interest of the Dodgers, not what's in the best interest of Trevor Bauer right now. And because this situation is an open case, if you happen to be guilty, then we're going to look terrible that we put a person who abuses women on the mound and didn't take it seriously. And it's really weird that they're going to actually play Trevor Bauer in this one. That to me, I just don't get at all how you end up doing this, knowing the kind of look that this can be for you. You see the pictures of her face. It's disturbing, dude. Like that's, and apparently she says that he, she fell asleep. And then when she woke up, he kind of told her, so you a little sore or something like that. And apparently she was like choked unconscious, she says. And when she came to, she was on her chest, and he was, backdooring the situation and all that. I mean, it's kind of a disturbing description of what went on. And you got to read the story, but it is twisted as hell. And to me, Trevor Bauer's an idiot, because you got baited into a situation that that can only be negative, or you're a flat out criminal because you're beating women. It's one of the two. I don't know how some of you would look at it, but wow. I found it to be absolutely disturbing watching that. Don't forget, you can reach out to us on Twitter at Big O Show. If you got any questions, any comments, you can send them in at Big O Show. I do want to remind you, because I mentioned it at the beginning of the show, and some of you may not have been listening at the beginning of the show. We have added 2 elements to the show to make it a lot better. Omar Kelly is going to join us twice a week now, starting on Monday, actually. Omar Kelly will join us at 11:30 a.m. Mondays and Fridays. So he'll be on with us twice a week. And Ira Winderman will also be exclusive here also on the show along with Omar. He will start in August, and he will be on with us twice a week. Both gentlemen will join us during breaking news stories if it happens. Now, if the breaking news story happens while we're on, between 11 and it'll probably go to 2 o'clock eventually. Will be a 3-hour show. We might go to 4 hours soon. But as we start adding more and more elements to it, we will expand the show, and we're gonna create a sports show that you guys can be happy with and proud of, and you can always tune in and catch everything that you want. So those guys are incredible additions to what we're doing here on the podcast and on the show. So we are really happy about that. As yesterday, Accurate Pembroke Pines stepped up in a big way. They became the sponsor of the Ira Winderman reports, and then we thank also EJD Construction, because they became obviously the sponsors of Omar Kelly, like they've been actually the last couple months, the sponsors of Omar Kelly. So starting next week, Omar will join us twice a week. Starting in August, Ira Winderman will join us twice a week. And when breaking news happens, that doesn't happen in between the 11 to 1, 11 to 2 hour or whatever, we will then do a separate podcast for that. So remember to subscribe so you can get the notifications when we are live. So when breaking news happens, you'll get the notification that we're on, not just for our regular show, but maybe for breaking news too. So if a trade happens, there's some kind of a bad news or injury or what's called free agent signing or something like that, or a trade, we will follow up with all of that with a special podcast. That way you guys will have all the information from some of the better beat writers in town. Okay. Oh, will you do any shows at Hialeah Casino? That's in the works too. I am one man. Okay. I am one man trying to rebuild this whole thing back up. So I will get to that, and hopefully everything will be kosher from here on out. Super V says Omar Kelly from the Sunset. Oh man, Omar sure loves going back and forth with people on Twitter. Well, at least he's answering, right? You know, there are some people that don't even connect with folks out there, agreeing or disagreeing. You know what I mean? There's lots of people that they don't care about the people that support them. Is that funny or what? Like, radio stations don't want to take your phone calls. They don't really want to interact with the listeners. You know, it's crazy. And I've always been the polar opposite of that. I've always been the person that, yes, I do want to, connect with the people that support us. Doesn't make any sense. You're not around if they're not around, and it's that's one of I think that's, there are many reasons, but it's also a factor that that radio has destroyed, themselves in sports or in overall, but that's because they don't connect with the public. And then the public eventually says, F you, dude, get out of here. Leave me alone. That's awesome. Ira is the top Heat writer. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And he will be here twice a week. So you will get all of your Heat fix right here. Let's see. Okay. Oh, you think she set him up? Herman, I don't know. But my point is, if you're exchanging stuff with a stranger, pretty much, because this isn't his girlfriend or anything like that. somebody he just met, and she tells you that she wants you to beat her up, pull her hair and whatever, slap her a little or whatever. Are you really going to do that? Doesn't make any. First of all, for me, that's not a turn on. I don't get turned on by beating women in sex. That just no. You know what I mean? That's disturbing. That's what I'm telling you about the Dodgers. That you're gonna play a guy that was willing to beat a woman. That's just not a good look, man. Just doesn't make sense. So yes, could she be setting him up? Yeah, hell yeah. But on the flip side, how stupid are you for even falling for that? How stupid are you for doing it? Actually, Trevor Bauer. That's my real point out of all of this. Okay? How naive are you or ignorant that you would actually, oh no, yeah, I'll slap you and choke you and beat you up and all that stuff for no problem. Yeah. And you think that that's not going to come back to bite you in the ass? You know. Yeah, maybe. And Rosenda says that's a crazy woman. Maybe she is, or maybe she isn't. I don't know. It's crazy. Anyway, so what else do we have here on the program that I wanted to talk about? Oh, I got a little story. I love talking a little music too along the way, and we always like talking about on this day in music history, and so on this day in music history, there's some pretty good stories. One. In 91, on this date, several people were injured at a Guns N' Roses concert near St. Louis after singer Axl Rose left the stage angry over a camera-wielding audience member. The crowd rioted, and the singer was charged with third-degree assault and property damage, but didn't turn himself in for a year. In 2005, on this date, Live 8 concerts were held in 10 cities across the globe to raise awareness about poverty in Africa. The event saw sets from U2, Paul McCartney, Green Day, Linkin Park, and many others, but most famously, Pink Floyd reunited Roger Anti-Semite Waters for the festival after nearly 2 decades of bickering. I can't stand Roger Waters. In 1981, anti-Semite son of a bitch. In 1981, Foreigner released their album Foreigner 4. The record included Jukebox Hero, Urgent, and Waiting for a Girl Like You. It's a great record. And I saw that tour in the Orange Bowl. It was the Rock Super Bowl. And that concert, Ozzy Osbourne was supposed to open up with Randy Rhoads. Foreigner was the headliner, then Ozzy was the kind of the co-headliner in a way. And it was fresh off the I want to say it was the Diary of a Madman album. It was the second album, and I was so looking forward to it because Randy Rhoads was one of those up and coming rock gods, and he still is to this day. He's kind of a rock god to us because those 2 albums with Ozzy are masterpieces, and some of the work that he put into that is just amazing. I mean, Mr. Crowley is one of those that I can listen to him play guitar all day long. In fact, you know what? This weekend I'll watch some Randy Rhoads just for the hell of it. But anyway, Randy unfortunately died 2 days before that in a plane crash in Tampa. And they replaced him with UFO and Pat Travers. So the concert was Foreigner, was Pat Travers, was UFO, and some guy that nobody knew named Bryan Adams. And this was before Cuts Like a Knife was out. It was not out yet. This was the album before that album. He hit it big after that with Cuts Like a Knife. That's when Bryan Adams' career absolutely exploded. We were in the Orange Bowl that day, and I knew nothing about Bryan Adams. None of us knew anything about Bryan. We're kind of talking with each other. We were on the lawn, and that day at the Orange Bowl, they set up the stage in a very different way. They set it up at midfield, and it was facing half of the Orange Bowl. It wasn't in the end zone for the whole Orange Bowl, like when you go for the Rocks, what was that called? The one with Metallica and Van Halen and all that. That one, you had the whole stadium. Like I did it for Prince and Bruce Springsteen and all that, the whole stadium. This wasn't. It was kind of half the stadium. So we were on the grass there, and all of a sudden, to this day, I still don't know the song from Bryan Adams, but it's one of these songs that kind of went slow, and he said something like, and she said, "Take me back," and I said, "F you." And when he did that, everybody he caught everybody's attention. Everybody's like, "Yeah," just for the F you. And still to this day, to that moment, nobody knew who the hell Bryan Adams was. A year later, we're watching him on NTV with Cuts Like a Knife, and it's like, oh, that's the dude from the Orange Bowl. That kind of stuff. And I had Pat Travers on about 3-4 years ago, maybe more, maybe about 5 years ago, actually. He was playing at the Bamboo Lounge. And so I had him on for an interview, and we were talking about it. And I said, hey, man, tell me a little bit about that experience when unfortunately Randy died and they called you last minute to fill in, and you and UFO came in and filled in, which, by the way, it was a blessing because I'd never seen UFO also in that. And that was pretty cool to see UFO. I love UFO. I'd seen Pat Travers a few times. So I've been lucky. I've seen Pat Travers several times. In fact, he's coming again. I want to go see him. He's, I think, I forgot that place. I think he's at the Funky Biscuit, if I'm correct. So he tells me, you don't know half of it. He goes, Ozzy's promoters call me and they tell me they want me to play the Randy Rhoads role and that they're going to talk to Ozzy so they can continue the tour. But Pat and Ozzy were tight. Pat had just talked to Ozzy a couple hours before, and he told the promoters, he goes, hey, you assholes are crazy. Okay? And he told me straight like that he called them assholes. He goes, you guys are assholes. You're crazy. Don't ever approach Ozzy about this. I just talked to him. He is devastated. And anybody that has followed that story, that's one of the things that devastated Ozzy was losing Randy Rhoads, because Randy was so special. You know what I mean? And so they wanted him to come in last moment and be Randy Rhoads for the rest of that tour. And Pat goes, hey, I would never do it. Plus, you obviously don't know Ozzy Osbourne. He loved that kid, and he is devastated right now. He's not going to do a concert. And sure enough, he didn't. And he kind of went into recluse for, like, I don't know, he went into some depression, some serious depression because of the whole Randy Rhoads thing. And so he goes, listen, I won't do that. Now, if you want me to play with my band, I'll do that. And back in those days, obviously, Pat Travers was still big. Back in those days, he had some juice. So there's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And Foreigner was excellent, by the way. They were fantastic. Lou Gramm is just, the guy that Kelly Hansen is the guy that does it now for Foreigner. He does a really good job. I know Lou doesn't have the same kind of voice anymore, so he can't do it, and he's had some health issues. And so I know that Mick has to continue in a way, Mick Jones. But I got to tell you, Kelly Hansen, he does a nice job. Nobody's Lou Gramm, but he does a very respectable job. Also, in 1979, on this date, Sony introduced a Walkman, the first portable audio cassette player. How about that? I like that. Oh, one more thing. Those of you that any of you like Behind the Music with VH1? I love those things. They have created 8 new ones. Okay. So look for it on VH1. July 29th is Ricky Martin, if you guys want to live the Vida Loca. The 29th, it'll be LL Cool J. That's right. Can't live without my radio. August 5th, Huey Lewis, baby, in the news. Do you believe in love is what it's all about. Busta Rhymes is number 12. Duran Duran, on August 12th, by the way. Duran Duran, August 19th. August 26th, New Kids on the Block. September 2nd, Bret Michaels. And September 9th, Fat Joe. So just in case, if you're into any of those, you can enjoy a little Behind the Music, which I am a major fan of Behind the Music. I love that stuff, man. I am Guilty as hell. Ray Grullon, lots of love. Thank you, Ray, sending in a little love on it's called Cash App. Thank you, Ray, for sending in a little love on the Cash App. Best way to support the show, better than, of course, the Super Chat, because YouTube steals 30% of that donation. So if you want to support us with Cash App, that's even better. Cash Big O Show. Cash Big O Show. If you want to support us there. Jim Gleason says, "Oh man, I saw Huey Lewis in Nolans at the Jazz Festival. He was really cool." I like Huey Lewis. I like that song. Do You Believe in Love is actually my favorite song of theirs. Killer harmonies. Big O, do you think Reggie Bush should get his Heisman back? Well, after all this NIL stuff, they probably won't do it because it's all about what's it called? The NCAA and their ignorance. They won't admit it. So I doubt they'll do it because then they would probably go back on some other things that they've done, throughout the time. And it'll be other people wanting their own redemption. So I doubt they're going to give Reggie back. They should. What are you going to do? I mean, listen, man, college football has been dirty for decades. For decades, guys have been, taking bags of cash to players and family members and getting them jobs and cars and all kinds of breaks. So what can I tell you? It is what it is. Chase One says, Jukebox Hero. Great song. Standing in the rain with his head hung low. Couldn't get a ticket. Was a sold-out show. Heard the roar of the crowd. He can picture the scene. Put his ear to the wall. And like a distant scream, he heard one guitar. All right. Let's see. What else do we have on the text line? Big O, did you see the Portland Trailblazers press conference introducing Chauncey Billups? The GM started off by bringing up his checkered past that he had off the court. It was bizarre. Well, that's been the subject, dude, because he had the rape allegations, and then he had a settlement with it. And so, and again, with the settlement, I'm kind of torn with settlements. I almost feel like you're guilty 99% of the time when you settle. Do you know why? If you're innocent, you will fight it to the end, bro. No matter what. You don't want that sticking on you at all. But if you settle, you're basically telling them that I'm guilty and that I did do it. You know what I mean? And that's the problem I have with settling. It makes you look guilty. I get it that some people do it to pay them off and get the PR out of the way, and people will forget about it over time. But do they really forget about it? Because here it is again. Did Michael Jackson ever live it down? No. To this day, most people think he's guilty of messing around with kids. Why? Because he settled. It's just the way it is. It's when you settle, it leaves that impression. And that's what Billups did. He settled. And I got to tell you something. If I'm not guilty, I don't care how famous I am. I'm going to fight you to the end, bro. I'm going to fight you to the end. I'm going to scream at the top of every building and every mountain that's out there. I'm going to find a way to prove you wrong. Okay? I'll be dead set on that. If I settle, then I'm basically saying, yeah, and I get it. If you keep it going, then you've got more costs because of the lawyers and all that. But if you're innocent, you should have nothing to worry about. Right? I mean, that's kind of the way I look at it. And so that's the problem with that's the impression it left. And it leaves with, I'm sure a lot of you out there feel the same way I do, that when you settle, it just doesn't leave a really good mark on everything that went on. It just kind of seems that you're guilty, So yeah, it's tough. It's tough. He's a good basketball guy. There's no doubt about that, but I don't know what happened that day. Tommy in Hialeah says, saw him do Cuts Like a Knife at Bobby Maduro with Sammy Hagar, Moody Blues, Journey. I was there. It wasn't Moody Blues. It was Aerosmith. It was Bryan Adams, It was Aerosmith. They played for 55 minutes, Tommy. I remember this. Okay, that was the Journey Frontiers tour. So it was Sammy Hagar was climbing the scaffolding, camera looking at him and says, I'd show you my D, but it doesn't fit in the camera. You remember that? That's a line there. Okay. Shows you I'm not high or anything because I remember all this stuff. So it was Bryan Adams opened up. Then it was Aerosmith because at that time, Aerosmith was at its lowest point. This was right before they did the Run DMC stuff, before they took off again. This was at the Miami Baseball Stadium. It was Bryan Adams. It was Aerosmith. And then it was Sammy Hagar because I remember that I was like, my friends and I, because we went in a group of like 15 people to that concert, and we were all discussing how in the hell is Aerosmith opening up for Sammy Hagar? But at that time, Sammy Hagar had Your Love Is Driving Me Crazy and Three Lock Box and all that stuff. And he was much bigger at that point. He had bigger hits at that moment. And then Journey played. That's what it was, not Moody Blues. And if you think about it, Tommy, Moody Blues do not belong in that concert. Trust me, I remember that concert. I mean, like it was yesterday. Okay? Love that concert. That was a great concert. It's July. That means training camp is around the corner, baby. I'm with you, Jim Gleason. Cannot wait. Super Boom Check says Brad Gillis was so good as a replacement. He was. He's still playing with Night Ranger. Brad is still playing with Night Ranger. I mean, listen, think about this. Ozzy Osbourne has had the greatest collection of guitarists on his band than any other band in history. I'm not telling you that Ozzy Osbourne has had the best guitarist ever. He's had the greatest collection of guitarists in his band, not counting Black Sabbath. Let's leave Iommi out. But if you add Jakey Lee, you add Brad Gillis, you add Randy Rhoads, you add Zach Wilde. I mean, it's an amazing list of guitarists that guy has had over the years. It's just sick. Nobody has had the run of guitarists on one band like Ozzy Osbourne. Nobody. He has an eye for bringing on people that it's really an incredible talent on his part. You know, it's one of those feats that I don't think has ever. It's kind of like Santana. Ozzy Osbourne in one band nobody has a better collection of guitarists than that dude has ever had. Santana, no band has ever had more hits with so many different singers than Santana. These are like musical feats that have never been accomplished again and never will be accomplished again. It's too hard. It's impossible, pretty much, to do all of that. Oh, were you able to see Bob Marley? No, I did not. I did not get to see Bob Marley. And that kind of bothers me a lot. I wish I would have seen Bob. There's a couple of those bands, man. A couple artists that I never got to see. I saw Van Halen, Ronnie Montrose. Oh, with Sammy. Oh, Don. Don, you bastard. I am so jealous of you. You saw Montrose. Love it, man. And Journey at the Sports. Van Halen was the opening act. Oh, at the Sporto. Yes, and Van Halen was the opening act. Nice. Nice. Very nice. That is awesome. Ozzy has had his own super team. Oh, yeah. He has a super team of guitarists. So awesome. You can walk up to the stage, too, was awesome. What were you guys talking? Oh, yes. I'm with you. Tommy says he was next to me on the scaffolding with two hot chicks, Tommy. You talk about Sammy? Let's see. Change the lyrics to Jukebox Big O. He got fire in his eyes. Jukebox Big O. He's got fire in his eyes. Okay. I like that. What else did I want to talk about today? Oh, by the way, Patrick Beverley, my brother. Yo, do you know, does Patrick Beverley, do you know how to do do you know how to do an apology, Bev? Do you know how to do an apology? Because he shoved the hell out of Chris Paul to the floor. You guys saw that in the game, right? So he goes out and drops an apology on Twitter, okay, which is so 2021 nowadays. I mean, whatever happened to like being a man or being a decent human being as a woman out there and apologizing to somebody in person. Patrick Beverley goes at CP3. Emotions got the best of me last night, gang. My bad wasn't meant for you. Congrats on making it to the finals. Best of luck. And then he put a cross fingers thing. First of all, it's gutless to do this. You pick up the phone and you call the guy. If he doesn't answer, you leave him a voicemail. You send him a text. You could easily get his number with no problem by calling several NBA people that you know and he knows, and you can hook up with him. Then the other thing is, if you're going to apologize, brother, have the balls to just really come clean. Have a real mea culpa. Please. This whole thing, my bad wasn't meant for you. Dude, you went right for him. You looked at him. You loaded up your arms and you pushed him. And all of us have gotten to a point in one time in our lives that we got into a disagreement, a fight or whatever, and you've done that push. That push means you're pissed and you mean it. And you want to send a message with that push, because that's just not a light push that you give your buddy when he says a bad joke or something. You just, oh, get out of here, that kind of stuff. That's not what that is. That was the kind of push that leads to a fight every single freaking time. Okay? That's the kind of push that any man that gets pushed like that, the second you're going to get up with rage, bro. With rage. Why? Because that's a push of hate, man. That's a push where you're unloading. At least have the balls, first of all, to call the man. FaceTime him, whatever it is. Look at him in the eye. If you can't see him in person, you should have done it that night. That night, you should have walked over to the locker room and said, hey, man, I want to apologize to Chris, man. I was wrong. And Chris would have allowed it. You guys would have had your moment. You should have given him a hug, thank him, shake his hand, wish him the best. Say, hey, man, my bad. I'm an idiot, man. The emotions got the best of me, and I took it out on you, and that's wrong. I'm wrong, and I'm sorry. I'm embarrassed. And then you walk away like a man, and at least you apologize the right way. To send a tweet, emotions got the best of me last night, gang. My bad wasn't meant for you. So you follow up with a half-ass apology that isn't really sincere. Then you follow it up with a lie. And then you also say, congrats on making it to the finals. Best of luck. You don't have no best of luck. You're trying to save some face now because it was a terrible look on you. And guess what? That doesn't save any face. Nobody's buying that crap. Patrick Beverley, freaking loser. Come on, man. You're a hell of a defender, bro. Hell of a player. But that was just gutless. You actually deserve your ass kicked. Because really, it's like a sucker punch, what you did, in a way. It's what it is. It's gutless. If you're going to fight with another man, well, then fight him face to face. So both of you know exactly what's coming. But when you surprise somebody, it's because you're afraid of the ultimate result. Because if it's an even level playing field, maybe you don't want that. I mean, just no respect for that, man. Zero respect for that dude. Oh, did X opt out? Opt out of what? Nothing's gone on yet, bro. I don't know anything. When training camp rolls around, we'll find out if he's there or not. There's nothing to opt out of right now, actually. So we'll find out soon. Patrick Beverley can give it, but can't take it. Glad that Nat got swatted. It's a good line. I like that one. Glad that Nat got swatted. That is good. DVA Mechanics is in from Twitch, it looks like, I think. All right. Appreciate all of you out there, whether you're watching on YouTube or Twitch. Make sure you smash please smash that like button as much as possible. Thank you all out there. Remember, if you have any questions while you're listening to the podcast, Big O Radio Show at yahoo.com. Big O Radio Show at yahoo.com. You want to support the show? Cash App, as always, Cash Big O Show. That's another way to reach out to us. We are going to wrap it up here on the show. Remember, Monday, 11:30, Omar Kelly will join us. He'll make his debut here on the podcast. Well, I've had him on this podcast before, but now he's going to be a feature, a fixture. I'm sorry, not a feature, a fixture of what we're putting together here on the show. So we thank you all out there. You guys have a great, great weekend. Hell, we almost made it to 3 hours today, 2 hours and 47 minutes. We've done quite a bit today. Thank you all out there. You're all so awesome. Appreciate you. Appreciate your patience. Appreciate your support, however it is you do it. We will see you on Monday. Be safe. I think Monday is what, July 4th, right? 3rd, 4th? No, it's the 5th. All right, so we're good. So we'll be back on Monday the 5th, and we'll have some fun. Please be safe out there, okay? And if you light fireworks, let it go, okay? Let it go. Don't hang on to the fireworks. Don't pull a JPP. You know me. That's JPP. We're out of here. Y'all be good. Much love.